up in belly room. Dice was there. I'm like doing my act. Maybe Dice might have chuckled. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? 10 minutes in, he goes, I've seen enough. I'm like, okay, well, easy come, easy go. And he goes, I'm taking you on tour.
Here's Johnny.
Hello, everybody. Brian Lally here, Hollywood native, and you're about to watch another episode of Brian Lally, Hollywood native. I'm sitting here with the man, the only man that means anything in the world to me, my father. No, my father's dead. But I'm here with Scott Williams. Scott, how you doing today?
I am great, Brian. How are you?
I am fantastic, never better. Who do we have on the show?
Today, Brian, we have a great guest, Eric Edwards.
Eric Edwards is a great guest and a great friend of mine. Eric Edwards has worked with some of the top actors in Hollywood. Steve Martin, Jeremy Renner, Chris Rock, John Ortiz, Wesley Snipes. He's worked with directors such as Jonathan Lynn and Paul Mazursky. He's been on hit shows like Masters of Sex, Parks and Recreation, Everybody Hates Chris, Criminal Minds. And Eric has been a stand-up comedian for 30 plus years. He was a regular at the Comedy Store. And at one time, he opened for Andrew Dice Clay. And now Eric is still one of the hardest working actors in Hollywood. He spends time with his special needs child, Beckett, and my favorite Mrs. Edwards, Tricia, his wife. Eric's going to tell you how his Vietnam veteran father kidnapped him when his brother took him to Hawaii, and his French lesbian mother had to go looking for him. And you can't write that, especially nowadays, you can't make that up, and that is the truth. But there's that and many more stories. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hey, and to my left today is going to be Jeff T., also a 30-year-plus stand-up comic from the Roxbury Project in Boston, the same place as New Edition. So he's going to tell you to cool it now. You don't want me singing that, either does he.
And again,
how big is your font?
That's funny. People have brought that up before.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
What-
I can read that shit from here.
do you got some questions you got written down?
You can't be sexting. Somebody a seat behind you can read it.
I don't. Do you sext, Brian? Do you do you sext? I don't like anything in
Really?
writing. I don't. You know.
No.
There's so many
Your
things.
mom can't read anymore.
And you know, my mom's barely doesn't even see English.
Your mom doesn't understand it. How long has she been in this country? 60 years?
Over that, dude.
Over 60
I was
years?
gonna say she was and it all happens around this time every year, or did for a while. I think my oldest sister's 65, so
Oh, wow.
I think 66. So at least 67 years she's been in the United States.
Jesus Christ. Sounds like she just got off the fucking
Absolutely. And this is what happens, and this is why I very rarely deal with her. I would invite her to my kid's birthday party, and sure as shit, someone would come up to me. Like, not even, like, it's one thing, me and you are real close. But then I have these friends that, like, I care about, but they're not as close as you and I. She will find that one friend that I know really well. And then you go, yeah, your mom's really, how long has she been in the United States? I go, what do you mean? Does she understand English? She's been in the United States 65 fucking years. Wow. So, like, let's take this. My sister, who's 65, mastered the English language by 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, she should understand. And she prides herself on understanding. I know English better than people who were born in this country. And she always says something. I go, what do you mean? Well, she just said this, like, you're a good person now that you have a kid. Like, I go, no, she knows exactly what she said, and she had to say to you, knowing that you will come up to me and say that.
But, dude, she was a nurse, right?
Yes.
So she worked with people all day, every day for like 40 years.
No, she should know English very well. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, your kids have mastered the English language, and they're not even 20 yet.
Right.
So,
Is it a form of defiance for her? Like,
oh no, she goes, I know English better than people that are born in this country. Maybe the written word. No, she's just an asshole.
All right.
Well, it's not even like she's been around that many French people. Like, I keep people who been in this country from, say, south of the border that don't speak English, because they can literally still be surrounded in a community that only speaks their. Same with like a lot of Asian cultures do that sometimes. They're in a community that they all just speak their foreign language. There are not that many French people wherever she's been in, except for My dad was stationed in Louisiana briefly, but that was in the early 60s. So other than that, there's not like a big French community she's ever been like.
Right.
They'd embrace her if they were.
Actually, she was fluent for it was popular.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to some
So
fun stuff.
you were born in Georgia?
No, I was born in Kansas.
Oh.
At Forbes Air Force Base, which is just outside, technically Topeka. It's right on the. It's not. I think my birth certificate says Topeka, but it was actually I was born in the hospital there, the military hospital.
That's funny because John Devilman was a military brat.
Oh, was he?
I didn't know that.
Was he in the Army or the Air Force?
Is that Marines?
Oh, so his dad was a Marines. That's so funny.
But anyway,
And he rebelled, didn't he?
No,
he's
you'll hear the podcast. He was great, man. He had a great story, great story, and John's great talented artist. So you were born there, and were you there long, or
No, here's what the deal was. When I was born, my dad was in Vietnam. Was in Vietnam at the time.
Okay.
And so basically, because my mom was pregnant, and she was in the United States, I don't know if my grandmother was here at that time.
Did your dad go to Vietnam because he was trying to avoid the draft?
It's so weird because you hear weird stories. Because I guess I was a big riff. My dad joined the military just after Korea, so like 56, 55, 56, something like that. And my grandfather thought that was a stupid idea because I guess at that time, unless you went in as an officer, joining the military, you went in because you couldn't do anything else.
Right.
Was sort of what I didn't know that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And my dad really worked the military system really well, and also he wanted to travel. He hated. He grew up in Manhattan and Topeka, Kansas, in the Depression. My dad worked on the railroad, so even though my granddad had a fairly decent job, they were still pretty poor,
right.
Because I think 6 or 7 kids. So there's a lot of and my grandma didn't work because she was making babies.
Jeff describes his children like 6 or 7.
He's not quite sure. So he wanted to get out of Kansas, so he wanted to travel, so he joined the military.
Right.
Went to Okinawa. He got sent to Vietnam. I think it was his third tour, not the second tour. Third tour, he came back,
Jeez.
and he had a prize 1956 T-Bird.
Oh, wow.
He really liked Thunderbirds. And I guess my mom sold it when he was over in Vietnam. Jesus. And we hear there's so much, I don't know which lie is correct, but...
what did she say?
Well, no, she just sold it. I heard one story that maybe he literally went to the garage before he saw her and saw the car was missing and asked, what did you do with the car? And she was like, I sold it, with that kind of like out of spite kind of voice behavior, which is crazy because she wasn't a big fan of my father's. So, and he literally went right back and volunteered to go back to Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know you could do 4 tours, honestly.
No, 3. He did 2.5.
When he came back.
Actually, I think you could do as many as you were willing to do.
Really?
Now, if you're drafted, you're only
required to
do. But I think it's in the military. You can go as much as if you're volunteering. They'll take as much as you want. Matter of fact, in the film Gardens of Stone, James Caan volunteers to go back.
Right.
And that's the thing because wife/girlfriend didn't want him to go. So he volunteered. But yeah, I think you can go as much as you want. Some people that was, they got addicted to it.
Yeah.
Do you think your mom didn't want him to go, or was she walking?
This is how dark some shit came out of their mouths. When my brother was volunteering, going back to Iraq and stuff, I guess she was like, he might just be better for the relationship for him to just stay there. I was like, oh yeah, why am I? They're not good people. My wife and my mom. I hate to say it, and it sucks when you come to the realization. I know good people. You know what I'm saying, and I'm looking at 3 right now. Well, the back of the head of 1.
Well, and that's the only reason you recognize them.
Wow! Oh, get a little something on the We had one as before we got out of the car because we thought it would be funny because you were sitting there. If someone's head would have just risen up from your seat, went hi. So yeah,
did your dad ever? Did he make officer or anything like that?
No. He, I think he.
Too stupid.
That's what my mom will say. That, and your dad was gay, right? I go, what makes you think he was gay? He loved, he wanted anal sex. Well, technically, Only with a man would it be gay. But did you take it in the ass? She never liked it.
That's funny because Howard Stern told Gary Delabate he was gay because he liked analingus. From a woman. I was like,
well, it's like I love if he gets someone pinned down to being possibly gay, because normally it's the angriest guy there, and Gary that dude has skin as thick as fucking
He has to have it.
armor. You have to really push him before that motherfucker snap. That dude has. Well, you find out a story like his brother died of AIDS. His mother was.
He gave him.
Ouch! Ouch! You want a crossover episode, don't you? You want the thing. So okay, but let's get me back on track. So my mom, okay, blah blah blah. Mom, not a good person. Let's go. Continue.
Oh no! So your dad, they sold the car. Your dad went back.
Then I guess he got stationed in Thailand. So then we went out to Thailand after I was born.
Okay.
I was only there for like a year, and I guess my dad hated the name Eric and Patrick.
Okay.
Which is my name. So my mom, which is crazy because they always love to tell that story. My dad even when I named gave my son my.
She tells you the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you see, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that dark? It's like, why would you say that? My dad, I guess,
By the way, your father wanted you dead.
Yes, he never wanted you. Well, it's so strange because we'll speed up to it when we get to Hawaii, but we lived in Thailand for a brief, I don't remember a thing, although once they supposedly, and they always laugh about the story, that they left me in, there's a lot of snakes in Thailand. Like, they run fucking wild everywhere.
Right.
And they left me on the porch once for like 5 hours. They'd forgotten about me. I'm like, you forget about your less than 1-year-old child.
Right.
Wow. Too bad social services did not exist back then.
The snake could have eaten you in a second.
Exactly. Maybe that explains why I have problems that I have.
Yeah.
I think that's when we got stationed to Texas,
Right.
San Antonio, and then Georgia, where we spent a lot of time. That's when the divorce happened, the kidnapping happened.
Yeah.
And then from there I went, to
We're
Hawaii.
not going to pass over the kidnapping. Yeah, that's when the divorce happened, the kidnapping happened.
Yeah,
And
like
we,
then
we went to McDonald's.
Well, this is how fucked up this was. My mom was the lipstick in the relationship. At least from my point of view. Now, she'll argue the reverse, but her lover Susan was like, I want to say close to 6 foot, but once again, I'm short, and we're looking from a short kid's perspective.
Right.
So I don't know if she really was, and she had this fucking jacked up hip. Like it was really weird, and she fucking hated me. It's funny when my brother brings her, goes, I don't know, but she fucking hated you. I go, okay, so I wasn't imagining it, but she really.
Just you and not your brother?
I think she had a little crush on my brother. At least that's their perspective.
Really?
Very weird. My brother, once again, I don't know what's real, what's
Right.
not real.
Right.
It could very well be.
Right.
I mean, that explains a lot.
A 12-pack in, the story changes.
Yeah.
She loved me.
She wanted to fuck me.
She loved me.
She
I
wanted me
caught
to
her
make
going
babies
down
with
on
her.
me and,
But can I tell you something? It could be true. That's how
Right.
fucked up this shit is.
Right.
She fucking hated me. And of course I hated her, because, kids read behavior and go, you're not nice, fuck you. And once
I don't fit well in this dashiki.
Yeah, I don't fit well. Now that story I made up. I mean, they did make me wear
Did
it.
you?
No, they
You
did make
cop to it.
No. Here's the thing: is they did make me wear it.
Yeah.
Now, in their defense, they go, "Are you sure you want to wear that to school?" And I was like, "Yes, I love I love black people, and because back then they were black,
Still are.
and still are,
Right.
and
Well,
dude,
we got to explain that
I lived in Georgia, and I went to a predominantly black public school. Originally, when we were on the base, it was a base.
Right.
And one cool thing about growing up in the military is sort of colorblind. It's more class. It's more class. Like you got commissioned officers, non-commissioned officers, then real low on the ring.
Enlisted, yeah.
Real enlisted. So I mean, our neighbors were black, white, and we were real close. We used to sometimes have feuds with each other, because kids would get in fights and. You got your family and stuff, and here's how something would always happen. Because my dad was he was a clerk, but he was also a clerk in like a medical unit, so he knew first aid, and my mom was a nurse.
Right.
So somebody in the neighborhood would get hurt, and either my mom or dad would kind of help it, and then
Right.
what were we fighting over? Oh, because kids fight sometimes over
Yeah.
silly things, and My brother did have it. My brother was a badass. That dude would take on a whole, like, housing project. He was really angry. So once we left the base, my dad, when the divorce happened, and I didn't know that, but now it makes a lot of sense. My dad canceled all the credit cards. And I guess like 1980, it was very hard for a woman to get a credit card in the United States. So it really jacked my mom's shit up. But she was fucking another woman at the time, so my dad was a little pissed off and a little hurt, because he thought he could keep her.
Yeah. Well, not as hurt as your mom was with the anal. So.
Or was she? Then, she wouldn't let us see him. He got stationed in Hawaii.
Right.
A lot of, like, don't tell anyone we live with that woman, because if they find out, they will put you in an orphanage and deport me and put you in jail, and it'll be all your fault. So, like...
Oh, nice.
You had to go to school with that secret on.
Absolutely. Oh, dude. And like, so it was... And, as you could tell, I'm quite an extrovert. So it was really hard for me to keep some of that shit. But, like, I would have a lot of friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Would you bring friends home?
I did. I remember this one. It just hit me. Because then the school that we went to is actually... Because Columbus is not a big city. Not a big town. It's basically a town next to a military base. So basically there was one big elementary school. And we did get bused, but I think it's because there was only one... The other schools were private. Okay. But there was only one, like, big... And it was actually a pretty respected school. People got good... It was a hard school. It wasn't easy. But it was predominantly black. And I still remember this, because I don't care. There was this kid, and I, very funny, but I was all small for my size, small for my age and stuff. And I remember one of my first friends was this really cool black kid who wanted me to...
Blow him?
Yes. Actually, no, they had a bunch of elementary schools, because I went to, like, 1 year I went to, like, 14 schools, because my dad was running from the cops so much.
Where's Tom Brokaw?
I know. He can keep this interview very organized. I've always wanted to learn martial arts because I was small and stuff, and he was really he told me he was going to teach me martial arts. Really cool kid. We went to the 7-Eleven. I think he bought is it Iron Fist?
So wait, yeah.
I'm like looking at you because
it was a black dude that was going to teach you karate.
Yeah.
In the 70s. He learned it from kung fu movies.
I know he did. Yeah, of course he did, because he saw Enter the Dragon. And Jim Kelly. Yeah, because he had the Jim Kelly fro, and I want to say he had even the vest. You know what I'm saying? It was about as 70s as it went. I was always hanging out with all the black kids. Mm-hmm. He stayed the night at our house. I remember almost burnt down the house because we got up early and I made breakfast. I thought I could cook, and I almost burned out the house, but we were fine. So then we went to Atlanta, because they used to go to Hot Atlanta on the weekends, my mom and a friend.
Oh, wow.
And there was some gay folk there, real gay folk that we would stay with, because I had pretty good, from being in the community, I had a pretty good gaydar of how people were. So right then... there was the renaissance of the black culture around like 74 and stuff. So I got a dashiki. It wasn't the dashiki that was...
no, it was that nappy fro they made you wear.
Look at this. I wish I could have that. They also got me platform tennis shoes.
Oh, man.
And they said, oh, you look so cool. And here's the thing. Remember back there's a certain mentality. If we buy you that, you're going to wear it.
Yeah. We can't afford just to buy you clothes for no reason.
So I had to wear and I was like, I can't. I don't think it was the dashiki that people made more fun of. It was, hey, wait a second, you grew 5 inches over the weekend. So that was
that's hilarious. I remember at that time wanting a dashiki and shit, and not being able to afford one.
Oh, yeah. I could have sent you mine. Well, that is what's known as white privilege, my friend.
You had my dashiki.
I did. And I remember what's her name was. I guess Susan's with another dude. Yeah,
another dude besides your mom.
Besides my mom. This is the big. My brother. He's all worried about because they have a lot of stuff. My mom's a pack rat, as you guys both know.
Yeah,
it's hard to find room on that. Between the boxes.
Sometimes to get in a vagina besides all the GI Joe she has next to the bed.
Memories that I guess they have a will where her stuff still goes to the lover. the Susan.
What?
I guess she maybe
She's brokenhearted for all these years?
possibly.
Oh, that's why she's so angry.
Yeah, well, she could change. You could
Wait,
easily
so
change the will.
How
I mean,
long were they together?
all the way to I think 84, 85.
So about
About at least 10 years, at least. And I'm not 100% sure, but I know when I went to college, I don't remember her being out here. But I do remember when I went to visit for Christmas in 82 or 83. It's so funny because I flew on the plane by myself. Some adults sat next to me, and they were like, well, you look really nervous. I'm like, well, and I told my whole story. They were like, here's my card if you need any help. Really? Your mom's, are you sure she's that way?
Yeah.
I go, pretty sure. And I remember I cut my vacation short because it's so weird. And I try not to do this behavior, but they were trying so, and I was also scared that they were going to not let me come back. And when you see a situation where you go, okay, I know I don't have the best situation, but this situation is infinitely worse. And as you can tell from me, and you've lived with me, I hold on to resentment.
No.
It's a family trait. We're like the Andretti's of we're the Gracie family of resentment. We're gonna be the Sanders, the Deion Sanders of resentment. We could hold on to shit real well. So I go, because I was always worried, are they gonna get back at me? I'm the one that was on when we went to the trial when my dad took us, and I always say this. My mom really didn't want us back so hard because, he was stationed in Hawaii. He was in the United States military. She had his name. I mean, it's easy to track. It's not like, he just went on the lam. He was where he was supposed to be. And so occasionally, a cop would show up and we'd have to hide. My dad would be taken down and questioned. And I still don't know, how much was show or whatever, but when we went for the custody hearing, we had to come back to Georgia. I remember my mom's attorney, I guess my brother might have cracked on the stand. I'm not 100% sure. He was definitely jacked up over it. He was,
That's when he started drinking.
Right that moment. I didn't. I remember I saw a lot of me, I can see a lot. I see a lot of stuff, and I have a memory like a trap. And the attorney kept on going, well, that's what your father's attorney wanted you to say, right? Well, he said he wanted me to tell the truth. And that's the truth. So that's what he told you to say. Yeah, he told me to tell the truth. That's what I was supposed to say. And he was so pissed off because he couldn't get me to say that the attorney told me to say those words,
Right.
The bottom line is that the judge was like, I've never had a decision like this to happen in my entire life.
Who did the judge?
Well, here's what the judge said. He goes, basically, because my dad was actually supposed to be back in Hawaii within 4 days, something like that, because he got a heartbreak leave for X amount of time, and the judge said, well, the kids have to stay in Georgia until I sort this stuff out. And, oh, man, I started freaking out because I knew my mom was going to, she was pissed. And not so much my mom, but Susan. I knew that was going to be, my sister. It was going to be fucking, it was going to be hell.
You said, what exactly?
Because I actually caught them in bed once.
Uh-huh.
Now, I didn't see nude. I just remember I walked in, like kids do, and she was under the covers. And this I go, I don't know because she was under the covers, but she didn't have anything on her shoulders.
Right.
That's all
But she had your mom on her.
She had my mom, ooh!
So in court, they presented the fact that she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you saw her in bed.
With
that was an issue
with the
that
woman,
was
yeah.
detrimental to you.
I don't know if it was that. I mean,
Well,
I do have a big.
based on how
I did get all the. I do have a big girl on girl thing going on.
No, but I mean the way the
wanna be
system
just like
was
mom.
Yeah, of course in
framing
the
it.
of course in the 70s. I guess.
Is this making you horny, Scott? Is that what you're coming over?
I want to get close.
Say it. Can you say it slower? Can you say it slower, Eric?
Okay.
Scott, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Jeff T likes big black things
So
in
now
front of
I'm
his
gonna
face.
Now I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah, what's up, Scott? Yeah, We about to do this podcast and shit right now. So can you
yeah.
see me?
So that's presented that was inappropriate. It's, I guess, for instance, as if they were just straight up divorced, and she had a man in there. It would be kind of used to get, I guess the whore defense is what it was being used as opposed to lesbian defense. But and also I said how, like, she told us that we were going to be thrown in jail. Like we were the whole orphanage story, how that was. Yeah, I told the judge that, and here's what's crazy
and Susan been watching them kung fu movies too. She was gonna...
that young black man that came over. She got him to teach her some karate. I still think you're right. He was mimicking Jim Kelly.
I used to play tennis.
Exactly, dude. Look at that.
I used to play tennis with Jim Kelly.
He's a badass tennis player.
He was phenomenal.
Wasn't he ranked?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he drove a purple Dino Ferrari that said Jim Kelly on the license plate. And I'd see him around town. It was really cool when he'd say hi to me, because I never played with him, but I played at the court right next to him.
So he knew
the
your
old
face.
West Hollywood Park. Because, yeah. but yeah, so I'd see him all the time. Then I'd run into him. He's like, "Hey man, how's the game going?" I'd be like, "That's Jim Kelly."
I know Jim Kelly.
That's Jim Kelly. Anyway, he was cool as fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but his hands were fast
Huge
as fuck.
Oh yeah, dude. He was legit. I think he was one of the. On a very weird side note, when Steven Seagal said he could beat anybody up, him and like 5 other said, "Well, let's go."
Yeah.
And then I don't.
But back then they said he had something like the fastest hands in the
He
game
was.
or
Yeah, he was a legit.
Yeah.
He was a legit dude, man. All right. So where do you want to take? Do you want to finish the story about the?
Yeah. So
He took us back to why cancer died, and then So when I went back to at 83 to see my mom. How many episodes do we have here?
as many as you need.
So it sounds like a lot of the animosity you felt coming from her was because of
and look,
the testimony. And
the testimony, but also I didn't get along with what's her name as well.
Susan, you mean?
Yeah, like I said, she really did have a huge disdain for me. I remember when I went in 83 or 82, 83 that Christmas to come out here to visit. And I was a fat kid, I was a virgin. But of course what I tell, especially having lesbian moms, let's look at the psychology of that.
Right.
I was like jacked up. And I shit you not, that bitch said to a fucking 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid who grew up in a very jacked up situation, she goes, "Really, you're not a virgin? Because who would want to fuck you with that fat butt?"
Oh shit!
Shit you not, that bitch said.
The truth coming at you.
I was like, and I was like, damn. And I went, "Your mom?" And then she cracked me. But she said that. She goes, "Who, now from her perspective, Minos lab at having," Susan didn't speak with a French accent.
Unless they were getting on.
Getting on. It's funny because my mom would always say, and I was joking with my brother about this when I last saw him, that, my dad was gay. He did like a lot of show tunes. And like he loved Liza Minnelli. I loved Liza Minnelli. And I remember his 5 friends.
I do.
Come on, Liza with a Z, at least with an S. And then the guys he would hang out with he hung out with a couple Navy guys and a Marine.
Right.
And I'm just like, maybe.
Did they break out into it?
And then a construction guy would show up. So no, I never knew if he was gay or not. But if he was, it would explain a lot.
Yeah, but when I've heard you talk about him, it just seems like he was more the nurturing person in your relationship.
Oh, well, towards the end. He was very.
When it's.
Oh yeah. And like I always said this, because part of my mom, I'm getting divorced because he would beat the kids. My mom was there for every fucking beating. And she would cheer him the fuck on. For instance, if someone was incredibly violent, I would go, "Okay, let me take care of this. Or we'll handle the punishment, And, my dad was very violent. And, but towards the end, when we went to Hawaii with him, he didn't get violent again until literally right before he was starting to die, and that was still no excuse. But it still wasn't as bad as my mom, because hers was so psychological, and also she would make me sleep in a closet or in a bathtub in a closet.
You've been watching Brian Lally, Hollywood Native. Now I want to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about, and that's teaching acting. So I co-founded LOLAS Acting School with my son, Kyle Lally, Lally Acting School. I've been acting for a long time now, of 100-plus credits on IMDb, hundreds of plays I've been involved with over the years, and I just want to share that experience with you.
What we do differently here at LOLAS is we give you practical advice that you can use on a movie set, on a play, an audition, anywhere. We give you the foundation to build yourself as a great actor.
If you come to us, you don't know anything, we can teach you everything you need to know to be comfortable on a set and to excel. Don't just listen to me. Look at what our students are doing. Daryl Wesley, who is writing on 2 hit shows, The Game and The Upshaws, and Ben Barrett, who is a series regular on The Politician. Megan Davis, who is playing Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard story. Come check us out.
You know, because I was a bedwetter. Go figure. Yeah. A long line of comics, me and Sarah Silverman. But, you know, I mean, I was really traumatized. So it's funny because once I went to college, it just stopped.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Thank God, because that would have been fun. That's why I respect Scott Kimball so much, because I know I accidentally pissed on him a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. And he never said a fucking thing about it. You know what I'm saying?
Did he give you an extra $5?
He gave me an extra $5. I never had accents. When I had someone, like, stay in the night, you know. But, like, as soon as I went to college, never again. Except when I would be drunk, you know.
Well, of course.
You know, and then I'd be vomiting on myself as well.
Yeah. Or when I was with your mom, because she gave me an extra $5. So.
You notice we make fun of each other's moms because it's not personal. It doesn't hurt as bad as when you go, hey, Brian, that shirt is ugly. Yeah. Oh, see now? Now I made it personal.
That's not the truth.
All right, but he wasn't nurturing towards it. Like, in other words, when we moved there, he'd also read some self-help books and shit. And, you know, as much of a father figure could be. Was
it Helter Skelter?
It was Helter Skelter, and he read Valley of the Gods. I don't have no idea. I'm just popping up stuff. But he also, the big thing, this was the kind of the crazy thing, because then we would go, you know, we would drive back. We went to Kansas briefly, because he got, he made a phone call from the court, and they said he got an extension to stay in Georgia. And this is how dark my fucking mom was. Because right when we knew that when the judge was going to make his decision, she was calling up my brother, go, what kind of sheets do you want in your room? What kind, you know, like, and I just remember my brother like, stop, you know, just so traumatized, you know, that he was like, you know, he was hearing, you know, she was like, oh, you know, like basically saying, we're going to get you, and, you know, and kind of fucked up shit like that. Like real psychological, like, why would you, you're angry.
Where did you want to go at that?
Oh, I wanted to go back to Hawaii. I did not want to go back to my mom and that Susan, because like I said, Susan fucking hated me. Like it was, at least I felt it. I mean, she really had a disdain for me. Me, her, you know what I'm saying? Like she turned me off of redheads for years. And people with fucked up hips, you know.
How did you get the decision? Like what?
I had the attorney call and said, he got custody. So basically, it was a wash. The girls got to stay with my mom, and my dad, and we got to stay with my dad. No one had to pay child support, you know, because each had 2 kids, so they all had to take care of their own shit. And then, you know, we went to Hawaii, and that's when my dad's cancer really fucking kicked in.
And that was from Agent Orange, they believe?
Yeah, can never tell, but he was definitely in like 4 places where he would have been exposed. Wow. You know, and it was stomach cancer. Now, I know cigarette smoking is linked to throat cancer, and he had no throat cancer. Right. And he said it was diagnosed originally as an ulcer. An ulcer is different from a cancer. Well, one's a tumor, one's a hole. Now, I don't know if he was telling people it was an ulcer because he didn't want to face the facts that it was cancer. I didn't have that, you know, the ability to ask all those questions.
But think about this. He might have been going through that at the same time as he's going through the court thing. Oh,
absolutely. He absolutely had to be.
I don't see him being able to say, I have cancer.
Oh, yeah, because then he wouldn't get custody at all. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So
that
would say you have an ulcer.
Absolutely. No, you know what? I never thought about that till you just brought it up, is that he probably was like keeping that to himself because
you have to be a professional liar to think like that.
We like to call it acting.
know exactly
He did not treat the doctor like that, did he? Oh, no. He was all serious and respectful. So tell me about that's interesting.
10-2 and shit. Talking with his.
I'm sorry, Jeff, that I brought you to this situation.
Anyway.
Dude, I remember this one time because we lived, went from the beach, then we moved, went to Kansas, then we moved back to Hawaii, and we ended up moving inland to, it's called Salt Lake. It's basically just a concrete jungle, just all apartment buildings. My dad was at the hospital, Triple Air Army Medical Center, the Pink Palace, and we were by ourselves. Like occasionally one of us, either the Marine or Navy friend, would check in on us. But this is the 70s, and he gave us like, we had like, he gave us like some money to buy food and stuff. It was gone in like 2 days. we were, of course, Pioneer chicken, we were like, it was really, I don't know how we survived the 3 or 4, because he'd be sometimes in the hospital like 2 weeks at a time, It was pretty, like, I go, how the fuck, this is like an after-school special waiting to happen, or like those Disney movies where the kids are, they're living in the park, homeless, and surviving. I don't know how we really survived. But we would, take the bus and, walk all the way, go however far the hospital was to go visit my dad. And I remember when Star Wars came out, we were like the only 2 kids that hadn't seen Star Wars at that point. And I don't know who this guy was and what I don't even remember his name, but he was a male nurse. He was younger than my father, but I think he actually like worked on the ward. And I almost bet this is how it happened. He was like, he heard us talking about, going, hey, can we go see Star Wars? And, of course my dad goes, I don't know how we're going to, he's in the, I'm in the hospital kind of thing. I bet you money he went, I'll take you kids to go see Star Wars. And he was this Jewish cat, real cool, because he had his fro real tight, but he had this Malibu 442.
Well, no, I mean...
No, the car.
Oldsmobile.
Yeah, like it was a pretty... Yeah. And he had the swivel seats, and he would, clock out or whatever it was.
Did he have a pinball machine in the back?
Absolutely. No, that was his pocket. No, no, he would go down, and he would change to civilians, his civilian clothes, and he'd fucking pick out his Jew fro to get it all hip. And then when we, he took us to go see Star Wars at this one on a weekend, and, introduced us to Hebrew National Frankfurters. He's like, have you ever had a real hot...
He had in his pants.
Yeah, his pants. And then he took us from Chicago. I knew it had to be... Yes, this has been blessed by a rabbi. But I think he was from Chicago because he was really into deep dish pizza. But he took us... I know he took us because he brought this hot smoking, I think, chick that he was trying... it was a really smoking hot girl as part of the date. Like, he was like trying to show how he was like, hey, I get,
I get this.
I'm serious, like, I knew he was pulling, but he was so cool. He was so, like he'd like go, have you had pizza? Yeah, Pizza Hut. No, real pizza. Like he was that kind of attitude. And, we went and saw Star Wars, took us to go pizza with this hot chick that he was, I'm assuming either banging or trying to bang or trying to continue to have a relationship with. But I just knew he was like, yeah, this is gonna build me points for this hot chick. Yeah, and it was cool. That was like a few of those like moments. I was like, that was pretty kind of an interesting way to kind of grow up. And then we moved back to Kansas. Dad died. My aunt raised
in Kansas.
Died in Kansas in the hospital.
So pretty. Oh, really?
Yeah. He was like 2 days before his 40th birthday. And it was crazy because my aunt got custody, and this is what has always caused a huge rift with my mom, because she would always say, you let her adopt you. Now, I that was a lie. I thought she did adopt us, but she didn't, because in order when you get adopted, you get a brand new birth certificate.
Right.
And the reason why I know this is when my aunt died, who I didn't expect, I would get anything, because, she didn't have much. Right. And I know she thought she had adopted us, because the attorney that did all the things, I think, told her that he did, but he really didn't, because later I found out that he had gotten disbarred for doing really shitty, like really suspect stuff. And it's very easy to find out if you got legally adopted. You just call the court. Like we went and got the papers and found out we didn't get adopted. The reason why I found out she didn't adopt us was, well, first of all, on all her insurance policies, it went to my brother and I. So in her mind, although she didn't have a will, now, her sisters and brothers that were alive were like, well, she didn't, my wife stepped in and was like, well, didn't she adopt you? They go, well, are you sure she wasn't just a conservatorship? Because, legal adopted. So we had to go to the court and find out. But of course, we found out she didn't adopt us. We went there because literally every 2 seconds, the guy that was kind of handling the situation, look, we gotta go to the court and find out if you got adopted or not. And eventually I had to say, look, I looked at the papers. She didn't technically adopt us. And because they wanted to, I guess when they sold the house and all her property, I guess they didn't want to give us any money. Wow. But, yeah, scumbags. But my brother said, wait a second, my dad's share would then go to us. So they had to. Okay. And I kind of figured out, like, what I got, so they divided my dad's portion between 4 of us. So it would have probably came out to around $2,000 each would have got from everything they sold. Right. My aunt thought she had adopted us, so much so that she left us as consecutive to all her insurances, And 2, my brother's kids called her grandma, and they made sure they didn't mention any of that in, like, the eulogies or in the obituary. It was real. I mean, like, maybe it slipped their mind, maybe it didn't. I don't know, but it was really fucking dark. Like, I was like, you literally technically fucked over your sister's kids. Because for all practical, I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations she said, if this wouldn't have happened, I would have never had kids, you guys, and all that kind of stuff. And then 2, they technically fucked over their brother's kids as well.
Right.
For like $2,000 each. Yeah, I said it. I said it on this podcast. I hope it goes huge. Wow. Bam! Resentment's a bitch.
And this type of upbringing can only lead 2 ways. Stand-up comic or alcoholism.
Well, you actually could go to both. Who is it? My buddy Bill Torres, we used to always go, we used to always have what up, like, not joking around, he would say something about his childhood, that I would say something, goes, okay, you win. Your childhood's worse.
He was in the Bronx.
And then I'd be go, no, your childhood was worse, because I was Caucasian. Yeah. So I'm all...
And he was Puerto Rican in the Bronx. Yep. So then, you go to the University of Arizona.
Yeah, after I graduated high school, it was a big time.
You're on your own now.
Oh, dude, I left home, I was still 17, And, dude, I totally forgot about this. I bought this fucking 1979 Mustang, which was what it went from the girl Mustang, the glorified Pinto. Yeah. They kind of went more retro, but more modern. Yeah. It had a, what was the Ford?
I mean, the Ford had a 289.
A 305. It had a 305.
Okay. Yeah.
Or 302.
That was in the classic Mustangs, was the 289.
Yeah.
I don't know what they had.
And this had the 70. This had a 302 fuel injected. Right. It's real fucking sweet. I had a sunroof. It was really nice.
You went to school with this?
Went to college with it, baby. Rolled in.
Freshman with that?
Freshman with that, with my Kansas plates. Wow. I had no place to stay, but I got a letter from a fraternity saying, hey, you're welcome to stay here during rush week, during the first week of school. Wow. The number was wrong accidentally. It printed that I had gotten, so I kept on calling, and I showed up with this letter to the frat house. And they said, oh, well, we'll find a place for you.
Right.
That's hilarious.
License plate said up a T.
Up a T. And so I was by myself, never drank. I don't think, my brother ruined alcohol for me at that time, because he was, he had a slight problem. Oh, yeah? So I kind of avoided it.
At what age?
6.
18. Well, when did my mom ask about it and say she had anal sex with him? No, it would have been, I think 17.
Wow.
Yeah, or 16, because I forgot he graduated college early. I mean, graduated high school early. Yeah, he was a real bad. Oof, terrible. Ruined it for me. Ruined the alcohol for me. So I went to this frat, and and you have not low self-esteem, but like, I'm thank God I'm pretty, outgoing. So I was making friends and pretty fast. But I didn't think the frat guys liked me where I was staying. And also, I didn't really want to join a frat for some reason. Yeah,
You don't want to drink beer out of some guy's ass.
asshole.
Yeah.
That came later. So I ended up I finally got into a dorm, and I remember Christian, who was actually the first guy I had a real conversation with at the University of Arizona.
Wow.
Because he was playing poems. Hey, where are you from? And we started it was really nice. Christian, this guy, Chris Holmes, who's a transfer from UMass Amherst, the zoo.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't think they liked me is because there was this is jacked up, but it was right after Animal House. And they introduced me to this kid Raj, who's from Iran, and I was like, oh, they're introducing to me all the, who was the big cat?
Flounder?
I was Flounder. I'm Flounder. So I just, okay, and Raj was real cool, but I was like, oh, I get it. I'm not a good looking guy here. Okay. And they all came and go, they want you to pledge.
Wow.
I was like, really? So I went and the pledge, and then I ended up, long story, I got in a fight with someone and left there for crap. But I was pledge class president because I talked a lot of shit, and they almost had like a coup. I was terrible because I had to work a job. He had all these rich kids, and I didn't. My money from that I was getting from my dad's pension and all his the benefits from the military. It took a long time to get. So I got a job delivering pizzas, and then I get a phone call from my aunt saying, we just got a report that the car we bought was stolen. I went, well, yeah, it's so we had to fight in court to get custody of the car. And she goes, so you shouldn't be driving it. And I'm like, oh, well, of course, what did I do? I drove,
Right.
because I had to make money as delivering pizza. Wow. I survived, and went to college, met Mike Barker, Tim Tooley, Kurt Marzoff, who thought I could get laid, remember?
Yeah.
Yes, that joke.
Yeah, you think I...
And the roommate you and I shared for 48 hours.
About that.
And then I graduated college.
Wait. Before you graduated, didn't you start stand-up?
Yeah. When did all the funny stuff?
Oh, Graham Elwood. First of all, I was always like John, very John Belushi-esque. Like I was John Candy, John Belushi in college, because I discovered alcohol and weed. And first person I smoked weed with was Christian.
Really?
Yeah, first person I got high with.
Were you doing wacky shit on campus?
Oh yeah, dude, I was I missed a lot of the major hazing shit because I had to work, so they would get pissed off at me. Dude, I can't. I don't got a parent. I don't got a safety net for me, guys.
Right.
Yeah, we did some jacked up haze. I mean, there's some shit where I'm like, oh god, I fucking hate groupthink, And we were all standing like, okay, we're not gonna do it. And then either Christian or someone else would give in, oh, okay, well, I fucking gotta do this shit. And it's looking in retrospect, going, this is some it's just stupid what kids will do, And I got in trouble for missing a big hazing, a big ritual thing. So the pledge master wanted to talk to me, and they got me drunk, and I ended up puking all over his place. It was really bad. It was really I destroyed. And to this day, I can't sniff Jack Daniels without wanting to just heave. Yeah, it was really bad. But then, I got over it.
So what was the stuff that started getting it so where people were like, this dude's funny?
Oh, because I always had a sense of humor from whether it was high school or junior high, because that was my defense mechanism. I would always be make fun of myself before you could make fun of me. And then also I was pretty... my SAT scores would not tell you this, or my standardized tests, but I'm pretty quick at putting, as comics, we can put shit together.
So Monty Python had the constant bombing of World War II, and you had your
constant
mom
Susan. Oh, I will tell something. I can't tell it on air because it's way too dark, but it's not about me. It's something me and Barker were joking around about yesterday, and I briefly talked to you about today, but I didn't throw the punchline that Barker threw. It was beautiful. But yeah, it just became funny in high school. And then, and I did I think I did my first, I was the comic relief in my elementary school play.
So Mike Barker's come up twice, co-creator of the TV show American Dad.
American Dad.
Back to you, Eric.
But I remember, and this was, I got to tell you, the coolest thing, I still remember this day, I was the comic relief in this play that my teacher had written. And I remember I was so nervous. My dad showed up, sat front row, and I was like, oh, you got to see me act. But it was really a big thing. I was like, that was, I still get that. It was pretty cool. And then junior high, this really cool English teacher, Mrs. Miller, I remember she wrote in my yearbook, because she was really cute. All the really cute teachers that were female always took like a warmth thing. You have no real mother. Your dad's dead. I was able to work that. You're so positive and funny for someone who's not just like such an Oliver Twist kind of life. But she wrote like, I expect you to be an actor or a writer or someone great. And then I did look at other people's yearbooks. She did not write that in other people's yearbooks, because nothing's worse than go, that's what she wrote this in everybody's yearbook, and it stuck with me. And then I did debate in high school, which is probably because my brother, because he did speech and debate in high school, and he lettered in it. And as you can tell, I don't have the physique. Although I did try out for wrestling. This is the Dubner would say this. I wish I would have stuck with it because I'm actually quite good at it. But we lived out of district, but we gave a fake address, so I had to walk like a mile to catch the bus to go to the good public school. And so I went out for the wrestling team, and of course everyone makes the wrestling team because you're basically a practice dummy.
How'd you look in the onesie?
I never got that far. And it's a winter sport. And one thing I've never had was good winter clothes ever in my entire life. And I would have to walk home.
Didn't have the winter onesie?
I didn't have the winter onesie. I didn't have the long johns. I had nothing. And I had to walk home from school, which would have been 4 miles in the snow. And like I made it till it started to snow. And then one day it was like I literally had to stop every 15. Whenever there was a warm place to go warm up, where there was a gas station. And my aunt would pick me up. Like after school, because
the Depression, they wouldn't have stopped.
It's funny because Gid Dubner said Lincoln walked 7 miles to school. You didn't want it bad enough. And I was like, okay,
he had longer strides.
Yeah, yes, he had a longer gait than I had, and I'm sure he had good shoes.
Yeah.
So I was all debate. I was very funny. Like I was quick. There's a lot of funny cats. Like the kids I graduated high school with, this kid Todd Smith, who was my best friend.
LL Cool J?
That was a James Star?
Wait, Todd Smith, is that LL Cool J?
James
James Star.
Oh, I did not know that. I just thought it was. I thought it was like Larry something that called. No, it's Ladies Love.
Yeah.
Cool J. Todd Smith, who was
LL Cool J.
the class, like he was the class, like he was. He's still one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my entire fucking life. He befriended me he was like he was 6'2", and weighed like 135, 145. I mean, it was a string pole, and I don't know why, but he took just a like when we went to high school. Yeah. He just like took a liking to me because I was the total opposite of him.
Mutton Jeff.
Yeah, and dude, he kind of saw this like, you're a little uptight, and would always push me to my limits. Wow. And he loved weed. And matter of fact, he had such a contentious relationship with his parents that he was going to end up like living with us. Wow. And then his mom called. She basically said, he's a fuck. He got kicked. He's a bad kid. He had problems. She
did a Jenny on him?
Yeah, she did a Jenny. She did a Genevieve on him. And my aunt loved. Todd was just he was a good dude. And because I kind of like raised myself, because my brother was out of the house by the time I went to high school. And my aunt was working so hard. I was doing karate, which made me an extrovert because, the instructors there thought of themselves as some funny guys, and so I'd be training jabs. And then, high school, like I said, all my friends were pretty fucking funny guys. I was like pretty shocked when like my wife and I went back to my high school reunion. My wife was like shocked. She goes, "Man, do you always have funny friends?" And I go, "Pretty much I do. I mean, like you guys, for one." And especially she likes inappropriate humor, but not from me so much.
Really?
Yeah, it's guy. I'm like, well, she doesn't mind it on stage. If there's a microphone in my hand and there's an audience, she has zero problem. But she nothing.
I didn't know that. I treat Trisha like she's a friggin' nun.
Well, but here's what's funny: when you're talking to people around her, not so much. Like when Mike Morales' dad died. I can't remember what you said, but Trisha had to do. You said something so funny and inappropriate that she had to cover her mouth. And then at my buddy Matt, Matt Filcher, remember Matt? Okay, when he got married, he sat me with Brian Irwin, who's a stand-up, former stand-up comic, very funny, insanely talented filmmaker. I think his son is actually going to a D1 college to play football. And Ian Baggs, who is a phenomenal stand-up comic.
Right.
You know, do you know Ian?
Yeah.
One of the best crowd work guys. It's between him and Matt Rife for like pure ounce to ounce. And he's not as good looking as, well, but see, actually that's a disadvantage being exceptionally handsome, as a stand-up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah! But, so at the wedding, Ian, we were just like, that person, wrap it up. We were like, he was saying shit that was so inappropriate. My wife was just, cover up laughing. And I was like, oh, I hate to do that, funny friends. But like all you guys are funny. All my high school friends were insanely pretty fucking funny guys. At least the guys I hung out with, and Todd was like the ringleader. And I just, got to develop that comic wit, that like dark humor, that like when things get incredibly serious, then to throw in that, but at the appropriate time, the right diffusion of humor. And like I said, Todd Smith, he ended up joining, like doing like the speech part of speech and debate. And, he did like, humorous interpretation, and I was like, I saw him getting laughs. I was like, oh, I think I could do this. And then, and then I helped him work on a play. He got cast in one of the leads in one of the plays, and I kind of helped him work on the lines. And he was like, you're funny, And I kind of wanted to do it, but I was like, I should probably be a lawyer. And then I do remember this one thing. In junior high, they had like a talent night, and my buddy Michelle Cuevas' brother, basically, back in junior high when you would just rip off Saturday Night Live, like Steve Martin stuff, like he did all of Steve Martin's,
right.
Act. And of course he gave Steve Martin credit,
right.
But
unlike Rosie O'Donnell.
And he got so much laughs. I was like, I gotta do this, And then one of the things my dad and I would bond over is, you have a bedtime, and this is when he lived with when we were a nuclear family. He would always watch The Tonight Show. And then whenever there was a comic on, I would hear him laugh. So I'd crawl out, and I could fit underneath his chair, and he'd hear me laugh, and he goes, oh, what's that laugh? And then he'd let me watch the stand-ups with him on his lap. So that's, it's one of those things, like Stephen Colbert, the reason why he got into comedy, because I don't know if you know his story, but like he had two brothers and a father die in a plane crash.
Oh, no.
And it just jacked up his mom, and he said he would always try to make his mom laugh or smile, so that's why he probably pursued this. And then I know I would, I used to watch stand-up with my dad, and then also my dad took me to see Blazing Saddles and Silver Streak in those, and just to hear this guy who never really laugh, it was a pretty cool thing. And his Village People friends could make him laugh too. Normally with something racist or bigoted, but kids from Kansas, what do you expect?
Just curious, like when you were doing stand-up, like did that sort of make you feel more connected to Dad when you were?
No, it just made me feel like liked. Does that, what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, is always making laughter. Like even in class, if you could make the teacher and the class laugh. That's why I always try to. Me and Todd never had a class together than when we were on debate, but we would compete to get to see who could make more people kind of laugh. I did win because I got him to moon an entire school bus after a debate tournament. So then, and then we were giving out awards. I gave out like an award for him, like most inappropriate behavior. It was funny because our debate coach goes, Todd, I better not get pulled over. He would say shit like, just don't get caught. And that's like going on stage. And I remember when I decided to stand up in college, I'd already I'd been kicked out of school because of grades, because I wasn't going to class. And Kurt, I met Kurt when I was delivering pizzas. And I remember Kurt goes, hey, what's up, Chubby? And that was the first thing I was like, who the fuck, and he goes, I have a friend that's fat back home. That loves to be called.
Oh, man. Black friends?
Well, he did. Alfredo Phoenix.
Yeah. So he used the N-word.
No, he never. Well, he never used that. No, Do you ever hang out with Kurt other than the 48 Hours?
A couple of times.
He's another funny dude. And Kurt was like, hey, I got to put you... And then I met Chris Lundahl. I don't know if... I think Chris was before your time. He was a kid who had a breakdown, and we had to send home to Phoenix. But he and Kurt were always like, you should be like John Candy. You know, matter of fact, Chris took my headshots in college. Like, he was like, here, you got to have these pictures. And Kurt put me on in all student films, vice versa. And then I just started kind of getting into it. And then I met this kid, Mark Fisher, in this class that I met where I met Tim Tooley. And I'd gotten back into the college. You know, they let me back in. And I had to literally... And I was actually on the debate team at the time, which means I was missing a lot of classes because we were traveling. So I had to make sure I passed every class. I had to get an A.
You ever want to try plant-based eating?
I have.
What, you're a little confused, overwhelmed, you don't know how to get started?
Definitely.
Well, there's a simple answer to that. Go to Debbie Chew's Chew On Vegan YouTube channel. Debbie Chew is a plant-based RN. I've known Debbie for over 38 years, and she's very good at what she does. You go to the channel, and there's over 300 recipes. They're simple, easy to make, and they're delicious. If you want to try it, you just might get healthy. Give it a shot. Chew On Vegan.
And I have this theory, college is easy if you show up to every class and you take notes. And if you ask a few questions, you can turn a C to a B to an A, if that teacher kind of knows who you are. So in this class that I was missing a lot, it was a TA, a philosophy class. Tim was in. I remember when I first met Tim, I was like, what a fucking pretty boy fuck. Because he had long hair. And the first time he's sitting in class and there's a girl behind him fucking combing his hair. I'm like, oh, that pretty motherfucker. And I had this kid I used to coach in high school debate who literally looked like my doppelganger. He looked like my little brother, sat next to me. And every once in a while I go, okay, I'm going to brown nose now. And I'd raise my hand and like ask some, important question. And Tim was like, didn't see me do that until one day he saw me go, okay, I'm going to brown nose now. And he went, oh, okay, you know what you're doing. All right. Because there was a guy in the front row who was legitimately just wanted to punch him because he was like, I'm an engineer major. I'm just so glad I'm taking philosophy class that's practical. Oh, really? Really? Engineering, philosophy. Who's more practical? So this kid who was also in this class, Mark Fisher, who went back to college, he was a Marine in Lebanon. Mm-hmm. He wasn't in the barracks, but he ran to help put out the when the barracks got bombed in the 80s.
Right.
And so he was there, and he was like, "You're funny," and I had a motorcycle, and he would ride bitch on my motorcycle. Nice. And this dude, there's Timmy's Got Game. This dude had I would remember we would go to a bar, and he was slightly older, but he was a Marine. He'd seen some action, so he had like a lot of fucking confidence. And he was also a phenomenal artist. He was insanely good visual artist. And honestly, I'm not doing cocaine. I have a booger in my nose I just don't want to come out.
We've seen that before.
I would see this guy, and we would be in a bar, and he'd go, it's time to get to work. And before the bar, he would find some hot chick to take him home or go home with. And, his family adopted me, loved me, the whole orphan, no father, people would take care of me. And I'd make him laugh all the time in class. He goes, you're doing stand-up. So he goes, we're going today. And, as I'm walking, goes, okay, do you know what you're going to say? And I got together with a friend and wrote some fucking filthy jokes. And
this was your first time?
First time ever at Laughs. I told one person I was going to do stand-up that night. I had like 75 friends from college. Because I knew a lot of people. Like, I remember when we go on debate trips, at one of our layovers, someone would go, hey, what's up, Sparky? Because that was my nickname in college.
Which you still enjoy hearing.
I fucking hate it. The only reason why is because there was a kid, Mitzi called Sparky. Mitzi gave him that nickname.
Oh, the Sparky?
Yeah. So I was like, I can't, that's his name. And also, he's a really good dude. Me and him became really, really close for a while. I don't know where it happened to him, but he was a really nice guy. So I went up, and of course, everyone, it's like the story, I was telling my buddy Todd is thinking about maybe trying to do stand-up at his age, and I said, it can only go two ways. Either you're going to crush your first time, and then you're going to bomb for months afterwards, or you're going to bomb and just kind of slowly get better. Because remember, like, everyone can maybe be funny that first time, but it's to do it the second time. And of course, I had all my friends there. They were laughing at, like, I mean, it was, dude, there's not one thing I say from my first ever that once they said, it was so filthy, I did not say one curse word. And they said, you can't do that material here.
Really?
I mean, I think he just didn't like me because I brought in like a ringer audience. And then friends would kind of show up when I would do the open mic. And, of course, I was sometimes good, sometimes, not, friends were laughing because they were friends.
Right.
And then I asked Neil Edwards, I don't know if you know Neil. No. He ended up writing for the 70s show. He's a really funny, he was like the first real he was kind of like, he was originally from San Diego, but he was helping the guy that was running Laughs. He was kind of the house, either MC or headliner if the guy didn't show up.
Did he write for you? Or?
No. He was there.
Okay.
And I go, hey, any advice? He goes, yeah, stop inviting your friends. I went, what do you mean? Wow. He goes, do you want to make your friends laugh or do you want to make strangers laugh? And I was like, I guess I got to stop inviting my friends. He goes, yeah. He goes, you don't know how funny you are because your friends show up and they laugh.
How was that first set without friends there?
It was hard, but I got some giggles, and that's when I met Graham and Jim and Paul, all the guys from Fancy Ketchup. Mm-hmm. And I remember I didn't think they liked me at all. I think Graham and I kind of got along a little bit. I don't know if because he knew Tim and, we had some crossover friends. And one day they pull me out, outside, and they go, hey, we're thinking about putting together a sketch improv group. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, I didn't think you guys liked me. Oh, because we kind of give you we only give people a hard time that we like. If we didn't like you at all, we wouldn't talk to you. And I went, but Paul said, oh, but you don't like people giving you a hard. He goes, okay, so he didn't really ever give me a hard time. He just,
Right.
That's how fucking cool Paul Goebbels is. He goes, this is how we bust balls, but that's not, we like you, but you don't like that from your friends. Okay. One of the best people I know. I love Paul. I wish he would have stayed in LA.
He's back in Arizona, right?
He's in Phoenix.
So now when Graham was here, I asked him this. He had some stories. Were you around Bill Hicks?
No, I'd never met Bill. The only famous stand was like,
wrap it up.
Oh, we're going into extra inning, motherfucker.
I was kidding.
I'm looking over like, damn.
I know that's harsh. I never met Bill Hicks,
right.
And I did see Kennison perform Jacked Up at the Laugh Factory.
Right.
I met Carl LeBeau a couple times. God rest his soul. One of the nicest motherfuckers ever walked the face of the goddamn earth. And then, of course, Dice. I went and toured Dice. I just been in Arizona. Never met Bill Hicks. The most famous comic I met that I actually talked to at Laughs was Dana Gould.
No.
And we actually had written a similar joke. One of the funniest jokes I ever wrote was about Disneyland and about how it be modernized. Mine was more based on current events, where his Disneyland was, when you see, you go, wow, that's the way the joke should have been. I mean, mine was very good, very funny, but that's how you write a joke that can go forever. It was one of his closers, I think. Actually, I went and saw him do stand-up because there was this really cute girl. I think Graham might have had a little something with, because I had a big crush on her, and I finally kind of told her, and she's like, you're my friend. And now check this out. Hold on now. In her defense, she came up with me and Graham. We did a comedy contest up in Phoenix. I got a ticket for $120 because I was speeding on the way home. We had like a six-pack. Thank God he didn't search my car. She grabbed that ticket, paid for it. And then I went to her restaurant. She worked at one of the 4-star restaurant. I brought a date there, covered my fucking tab. Oh. So I was like, you know what?
That's a friend.
You're a friend.
That's it.
And you might have blown my other friend. So, okay, it's all good. Yeah. It's all good.
But I just don't want to miss this transition from funny guy in college to what brought you to Hollywood.
Oh, that was because I was at Laughs. And one weekend, Jim and I drove out to California. to do an open mic at the Comedy Store. Jim actually got a time. I didn't.
You didn't get on?
Didn't get on. Jim did quite good, but it was the belly room, and, it was his first time there. Jim even thought about possibly doing a team thing together one day. And then I got the job at Christian. I get a call randomly because I graduated college. I was selling siding door to door in Tucson, which they're Adobe houses.
Tin Man.
Yeah, but it was like a terrible job, and I was bad at it. I get a call from Young Riders, which was a TV Western that they were shooting in Tucson, and I had not talked to Christian for probably 2 years at this point. Go, yeah, this guy Christian Konings had suggested that we need someone to fill in for him while he's gone on this production, and I had a motorcycle. Okay, I did not know, so I'm doing deliveries on a motorcycle. I'm picking up food.
You're ahead of your time.
No, dude, it was dangerous, and I had no helmet. And I was such a hard worker because I was so excited to, first of all, get a job that I kind of liked, that was in the business. And there was never an empty coffee pot, never a full trash can. I had that good old Kansas work ethic. It was like, hey, what else can I do for you? What needs to be done? And also, as you know, time goes by faster if you're busy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Christian got fired. And I kept the job. They got me a company car because they found out I was making deliveries on a motorcycle. They're going, we can't have you do that. So they give me this nice truck to drive. You could take it home. So I'm like, petty cash. I was working the system, when I was going to Laughs at the time, working on it. And then this the head of wardrobe, who was like this salty, been in the business since like the silent movies, was like, why does a PA have a company car and I don't? And they took my fucking company car away. And at that time I got transferred to the set. Like I was working in the office in the town, but then they moved me to the set, which was at Mescal, which was like a half hour, 45-minute drive. I had to be the first one there, last one out. And I showed up on my motor when they took my car away. I showed up on a motorcycle and I made sure I dumped it, and they're like, oh, we can't. And so they all chipped in and bought me a car.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they pulled together like $1,500 or something like that. So I got a car for $1,500.
That was a nice car back then.
No, it wasn't.
For $1,500, really?
Not really. If you think it was 1990. So it was right at the, well, I was not a good car shopper, I guess, is what it was. I mean, it was cool. It was fine. Got me out to L.A. I had it for a while until it got towed. And then I got to drive Michelle Pfeiffer to the airport because she was visiting Fisher Stevens. Oh, wow. That was the big moment. That was the big moment when I was told, they go, hey, an actor wants you to do a favor for him. I was like, oh, I don't want to. They're not supposed to. I'm not supposed to do a personal favor. Well, they need you to drive a friend to the airport. Who do they want me to drive? Michelle Pfeiffer. Can I borrow your car? Because I had my car was shitty. You know what I'm saying? So I borrowed the car, and this is 1990 Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right.
Yes. And do you know who Fisher Stevens is? Yeah.
Does he know?
I am closer to Fisher Stevens than we are to George. Than he, he is a character actor, and I was like, oh my god, she's, and of course I picked her up from a hotel room. The bed's all messed. Might have seen a wet spot. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, oh, they done the devil's business in there, and I go, so how'd you guys meet? Well, we did this play, and he was so funny and talented, and I was like,
funny and talented.
That's the key. And as you know, that was the key. We could bat way up, out of our weight class. So that was like, that was definitely the moment where I'm going to go fucking out to LA and I'm going to get I'm Michelle Pfeiffer. So I'm going to get a hot chick. I'm going to get really funny, really good, and that's going to happen,
And you ended up with Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde.
Center Square, Hollywood Square.
I was going to say Denzel Washington. Or Omar Epps.
Paul Lynde was hilarious.
Yeah.
Paul Lynde. Do you know back he did like different episodes of Bewitched, but as different people, right?
Oh, did he? I thought he was Uncle.
Oh no, he was Uncle whatever. No, there's other shows where back then they would reuse character actors and they would play like just.
Oh yeah, no. A lot of times, long-running shows, guys would play three different people.
People go, "Is it the same guy?" No explanation. Yeah. But now those times have changed,
Yes, that's true.
You've already done a guest star on this show. We can't have you back, son of a
Right.
bitch. But I don't look the same. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do with long hair and the beard. It hasn't worked yet. Mm-hmm. So we got to talk about Dice. How did he discover you?
Speaking of my mom,
He was coming out of the bedroom.
he was guys, hey, what's up, Dice?
High-fiving, coming out.
No, this is really,
The guys in line.
at that point, I was a paid regular at the Comedy Store. Normally on Monday, the paid regulars got to the main room. For whatever it didn't happen, they go, hey, we spaced, we didn't get you a main room spot, but we'll give you 15 minutes in the OR. And back then, Monday was free for guests, just a 2-drink minimum. So sometimes, because it was very affordable, it would produce a very urban audience. So the MC didn't show up, so Eddie Griffin thought he would MC. There was about 10 white folk that was sitting in the front row, and then the rest were African American.
But when Eddie Griffin MC, didn't he do like 4 hours of...
Close, but he was keeping score between how good the white comics were doing versus how good the black comics were doing. And my mom happened to show up to go watch the set.
Your mom showed up?
My mom showed up. This is back when we were talking. And, dude, I fucking lit that. Because back then I had my black act. I had my urban act. You know, that I was doing the comedy act theater back then. Right. I was doing the townhouse. I was, doing all the black clubs. And so I had and I had this,
you were
that
doing
whole,
your dance?
I was dancing. I was a fat guy dancing, so that was automatically got me like a standing O at the beginning. And I fucking laid waste. I fucking lit the store. I had a girl, because I was joking around about, got a little jumbo fever, I've gone skinny, go crazy. You can, I was just, anything black I was making fat.
Yeah.
And this girl, I remember she goes, give me some ones. And I was like, oh, I got, and I got fucking like a standing ovation. I ended with the militant fat guy, and Dice, I guess was in the back of the room, and I ended with piece of pizza, it was how and the place just went, and then of course Eddie went, okay, he counts as 2, and Eddie was the reason why I got my first Saturday main room spot, because he said after that night, he told Mitzi just how and I started getting some Saturday main room spots because of what he told her. But Dice was in the back room, and he goes, pizza. And I go, pizza? Isn't that your name, pizza? I go, no, I said piece of pizza. He goes, oh, what's your name, Eric? And I blew him off because I had to go meet my mom. And he goes, who the fuck is this Eric Edwards? And my mom, of course, hated Dice Clay, but she knew that he was a big deal. And I go, yeah, Dice Clay just wanted to talk to me. She goes, why are you talking to me? And I go, you're right. Why am I talking to you, bitch? Yeah. No. And she said, go talk to him. I'll talk later. So that's when we started talking. And then he kind of disappeared. Well, I don't know if I had a conversation that night. He might have disappeared. I couldn't find him. The next night, he comes looking for me at the store. And he introduces me to this huge, I can't remember what the guy's name was. He was a big agent at William Morris.
Right.
This is the next guy. Now, of course, I call the guy up. We start talking. Then a week later, William Morris merges with Triad, and they fire him. But no, it is what it is. But it's and then Dice kept on showing up, looking for me.
Right.
And then I'm in the parking lot. I'm in the back, the outs. The when you go into the OR.
Yeah.
The patio. The patio.
Next to the bar right there.
It's me, Don Barris, and Robbie Perrone. Is that black dude, Robbie Perrone. I don't know if Don Barris is there, but it's Robbie Perrone is definitely there for sure. Robbie Perrone and Harris Pete's there. Okay. And I love Harris Pete. Oh, he was always for a salty guy, he was always exceptionally he was always very, very nice to me. Introduced me to Mike Binder. When I booked Beverly Hillbillies, Jim Varney was in town and introduced me to, he goes, hey, and I will always say amazing things about Harris Pete because he was not only funny, but just such a nice dude. So Dice is going, tell me a joke. And I'm like, and Harris Pete goes, do you know how many people would be given their right nut right now to be in this situation? And he goes, what do you need? I go, well, a microphone would be nice. And Robert Perrone goes, I can get us in the belly room. And I'm like, and Timmy's there. Toulay is there. I forgot Tim Toulay drove me fucking down because my car didn't work. And I go, we got to go to the Comedy Store because I think Dice is kind of interested in me. So Timmy fucking drove. That's right. Fucking Tim Toulay was there. Holy shit.
Who drove you to the audition for Blade? No, thank you.
Because I was in character.
Continue.
Yes, he did.
Continue.
And fucking me, Timmy, Robbie Perone went up to the fucking belly room. Dice was there. I'm like doing my act. I might have heard maybe Dice might have chuckled. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? I cannot remember, but 10 minutes in, he goes, I've seen enough. I'm like, okay, well, easy come, easy go. And he goes, I'm taking you on tour.
Jesus.
And I was like, shit. And it was supposed to be 22 days, and it got cut down to 10 because he booked a movie called Brain Smashers. And then we thought we were all going to die in the private jet. We went on a private, it was a private jet. And it's funny. It was, he shot like the first, I think he shot part of the film, and then he went on the tour, which was only going to be 10 days because of the shooting schedule. And so we had this private jet, and, it was, he let Don go up, thank God, to, fill some of my time, because it was a Dice, it was a Dice crowd, and it was Dice hardcore fans, because remember, he was the first guy to get canceled.
Right.
So
Yeah.
people showing up to his stuff were people that were, like, all about fucking him. And first set I did and I broke my wrist. I had a cast on my wrist because we went to go crash the Def Jam auditions at the Townhouse. In the Townhouse, actually, there was a basketball hoop. I guess some people would play, in the behind the bar, or not behind the bar, but in the parking lot. And I got sponsored by Reebok, and so I had the Reebok pumps. So I was like, so I was joking around playing it, and I go up for a rebound. And Willie Barcena undercuts me. He feels so bad. Like whenever I mention, he goes, I did not mean to. And I broke my wrist.
No.
He didn't mean to intentionally. I is a fat guy jumping up for a ball,
Right.
and our bodies collided,
Right.
and I broke my fall. He had nothing to do with me. My unathletic ability.
Jeff T don't play around playing basketball.
No, but Jeff wasn't even. You were.
T brings that Roxbury Projects mentality.
To this day, when we were at that party with where Merriweather was house sitting,
Oh, yeah.
and you did a give and go to Suhan, and she was wearing flip flops, and still schooling
That
you
was the
got.
first time I was wearing dress clothes in my life.
I
I got
knew-
out of the uniform.
You got your
I was
entire
wearing
life.
dress clothes, and I was tearing it up out there.
But Jeff does a give and go, and it was so good. He stopped for a second because she totally picked up the pass.
Yeah.
But so I went on to I had a broken wrist. I remember it was on Halloween because Tim went with me to the Townhouse. That's how me and Tim were rolling together so much. And I was Halloween when the audition and then we found out they weren't letting anyone non-black on the audition. So, but me and Willie Barcena. I left because I had a fucking broken wrist, and I remember I was in such denial, because my watch popped because my wrist had swollen up so fast. And remember, I don't know, do you remember Moon? Yeah. Okay. So Moon, and I knew he was a scout for University of Tulane. So I thought he knew something about it. He goes, yeah, that's broken. I'm like, no, it's not. I can still move my fingers. Okay. He goes, I think it's broken. And I went to the emergency room, and I remember my sister actually took me, and I had to put on my pants, but I put on button-fly jeans. And it took me like 25 minutes to get them on. And I was like, Kurt? He's like, let me watch some more football. And so Kurt, long story short, I went on tour with a cast. Had a terrible first set. Terrible.
The first show?
Oh, yeah, terrible. Because I was scared shitless, broken wrist. It was St. Louis, which to this day, if I can shit on the town of St. Louis, I will go on that stage one day and shit on that stage. Because they literally, the moment I walked out, they just started booing me. Not even a word came out. Not a chance. Then the next day I did better, long story short. Then we're flying over from some place in Iowa back to Ohio. Dayton, Ohio is where we were landing. And we thought we were going to die because we hit a storm and we were being tossed around. And a lot of times private jets, they have like the altitude right there, so you dip. And then I remember the pilot saying, we're going to try one more time to land. If not, we're going to have to
Crash.
We're going to have to take emergency procedures. And we're like, and then I saw die. Everyone was like, like you could see everyone praying, and we fucking land, and from then on we took like commercial flight. He stopped the tour after Detroit because that was our next city. We took a regular plane to Detroit and then back. Yeah, he was a cheap fucker. I remember how cheap he was. I was getting $50 a show. Okay,
Wow.
okay, that sounds terrible to begin with.
Yeah.
And he invited me out to dinner.
And you paid?
Nope. But nope. It was Dutch, and I was like,
Wow.
I just assumed, and I didn't say anything, but I was like, oh wow. Hey, do you want to go to dinner? No, I'm good. I'm good. After that, I was like, that was like, and also the money had gotten cut in like less than half, and then even the last 5 days. And this is one that, and I'm glad I did this because I don't know where it would be, but when he on Brain Smashers, he goes, hey, I can't pay you $50 a day, but I can give you a hotel room and $25 a day. I'm like, I think I'll go back to LA. I go, but he, like I said, insanely nice, but he was very famous, and I was, starstruck, and I just didn't want to be that guy. Hanging out for $25 a day.
Yeah.
I had to be back in LA because I was like, had shit to do. You know what I'm saying?
What
Like,
did you come back to?
well, I ended up getting Beverly Hillbillies, and then I ended up dropping that manager and calling up Parallel. And it's at that point I was starting to like kind of going, because I didn't get along with that manager at the time. And, he wasn't at his emotional best, and neither was I. He ended up becoming a very big power player, though.
I mean, was that point in your career where it was the fork between stand-up and acting?
Well, you come out to LA to basically, you're out here to get the deal, to act and do, like, in other words, that's what Dana said. Dana's advice was, you got two roads. You either do the road and then you go to LA, or you just say fuck it and go to LA and just do as much stage time as humanly possible. If you want to be an actor, get in an acting class. Of course, I said no to that at that time.
So you were just here to
I wanted to fucking,
career to jump
I wanted to be famous.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? And New York was too cold, and I knew no one in New York. But I had a buddy, and all the guys from Young Writers, I could at least get a job. Like when I first came out to LA, MGM called me up and said, hey, do you want to do a couple of days on Into the Night? Like work in the office because you were so good on Young Writers. So I worked got to talk to Carol O'Connor
Wow.
on the phone.
Oh,
insanely nice.
Yeah.
And-
Racist?
he's got me liberal. He was like he sued a drug dealer, but he played a good racist.
Yeah.
Like my last day, he goes, hey, what's your name? And, like eventually he goes, hey, you keep on answering phone. What's your name? I go, Eric. He goes, oh, I'm Carol. And I go, well, of course I know, and I just want to say thank you because All in the Family was a very important show to me and my father growing up, and you're just a great actor, and just thank you, and this is my last day. He goes, oh, okay, best of luck. And then the accountant from Young Writers, who I used to call Mom, that was my trump card with older lady. What's up, Mom? Hey, Mom, because I don't have a mom. She got me a job at Klasky Chupo because that's where she was working.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Was it on Highland at the time?
On Highland, and this is how much these people fucking. I'm good at making really good first impressions for a while, until I take advantage of it. Unfortunately, they let me take the company van home every fucking night.
With the children in it?
Close. It had Bart Simpson on it. It had all the animated characters on it.
Rugrats?
And Rugrats, until they looked at the odometer one day. Because it was me, Jamie Kennedy, Bill Torres, Danny Woodburn, Jason Rawbacker.
Wow. That was a fun van.
And I want to say maybe Dino Londas and Eric Madigan. I don't know if we would all pile in. I think they came in later. But we would all pile in there and go to like 7 open mics, or at least 3 open mics in a day. Yeah. And they just looked at it and go, yeah, I think you got to stop. And I had a company credit card for a gas card. So the accountant was like, I was like, well, but once again, it was one of those jobs that you go. One thing I was always, for the most part, pretty proud of is if I ever got a day job, it would always be a job that I could just go, well, I'm leaving to go do this.
Right.
Either you will let me have a job when I get back, or you won't.
Right.
And then I christened myself. Because when I had to take like 2-3 weeks off to go do something, my buddy Doug Curring who I met on Young Riders. I got him to fill. He took my job.
Nice.
And then when I got fired, but then he ended up getting the DGA.
When did you do Townsend TV?
Oh shit, that was right when I signed with when I got with Parallel. Oh, fuck, they were so cool. I wish I would have never left them. Well, I was at the Comedy Store, working at the Comedy Store, and I just worked with Dice. God, what is her? La Boca? Can't remember what her name was. She was one of the original partners of crime. Like she was in all like I don't know if she was in Hollywood Shuffle, but she was in all of Robert Townsend's his HBO specials.
Oh, okay.
Real filthy. She was actually too filthy for Death Jam. She was part of that whole crew. She recommended me. I guess Robert was looking for people, and she recommended me. It's so cool because I called her up and said, hey, did you recommend me for Robert Townsend? She's like, yeah. I go, I just want to thank you. She goes, why are you calling me? I go, well, because you recommended me for something, and I just wanted to say thank you. That was very nice of you. So we went in, and I got to audition at the Comedy Act, which is at that time it was like one of my home courts. I think DL might have been the MC, and of course I fucking lit it up. And at the time, Parallel Entertainment repped Damon and Marlon, they handled all their live stuff.
Right.
And Damon was there, so I got to meet Damon Wayans, and which at that time he had just done he was fucking really at his peak, his first peak, and he had just done Damon Wayans' Last Stand, that HBO, which is one of the great specials of all time, where he throws them, I'm not doing stand up anymore, and throws the mic down. And he looked at me and he goes, do you do that acting for white audiences? I go, most of it.
And you were the first cracker on...
No, on BET's Comic View, I was the first non-black on BET's Comic View. Yeah, I mean, I beat Dante by I think 5 episodes. And Honest John really hated that. But Honest John really embraced, he's like a legend in the black circuit, and the urban circuit. He really I was working too much as an actor and stuff, where, and then I just started working the store more, and then improv, and then lost the weight, and then my career went to shit. No, it's okay. It's revitalizing. But that's how I got Townsend TV. And, oh, God, I remember, they only kept did they keep my set?
I remember seeing you on it. So they did keep...
They kept bits of it, but they didn't keep my set. And but here's what's so cool is we actually got a copy of it. They ended up getting a copy of the set, which was because I fucking crushed. And it was funny because who's the dude that was he's a very funny black comic.
Jeff Tarpley?
Other than Jeff Tarpley, God, what is he does that whole militant. Tell him you want your freedom. Tell the fat man you want. When I go see, I had an uncle that whenever I go see Santa, he'd say, Warren Hutchison. Warren Hutchison. No, is it Warren Hutchison, or is that the guy that died of the heroin? Warren Thomas was the guy that died. Yeah, Warren Hutchison. Warren Hutchison was there, and then he sees and then I would run into him at around town, and he goes, I guess they had to cut your set because Bobby wasn't in it enough. And I was like, damn. Because I really did crush. And luckily, Michael DeLorenzo was there because he knew a lot of the dancers. So he came and saw my set. So when I didn't show up on the, because of course I told everyone, hey, I'm going to be on Townsend TV tonight. And he was going back to Playhouse at the time. And so I thought you were basically just a glorified extra. And he goes, Michael DeLorenzo, I was there. Eric crushed. He was, they cut his set out, but he crushed.
Mi Familia.
Mi Familia, yeah. Back to Brian Lally, who was in Mi Familia right there.
Michael DeLorenzo.
Why'd you kill Chulu? What was his?
Chucho.
Chucho. That's who he played, right? He was Chucho.
No, he wasn't Chucho.
No, he was the bad gang member.
Yeah. Esai Morales was Chucho. Yeah, he played one of the bad guys.
The bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Esai Morales.
Very cool. At the rap parties, very cool. Yeah, so... Well, we got Blade, we got Bilko. What did Burlstein say when you got Bilko? Didn't he talk some shit about you?
No, he did want Chris Farley.
Well, I know that.
I don't know if I don't know. You hear rumors, you don't know. Well, I know, Panette really disliked me because I would take...
Really? Oh, he's so funny.
He's insanely funny. Dude, no. Well, you know what it is? Because I would always I'd always beat him out for parts.
Right.
Except for he got into Blade 2 or 3.
Really?
Yeah, he's in one of them. I was in the first, but he actually got to be a human being.
Yeah. Hey, come on, man! But you're
him
Pearl.
Him and Patton Oswalt got to be themselves.
Yeah, but you're Pearl, dude. You're a fucking legend.
Not really, but it's okay. No, I mean, thank you.
Okay,
thank
we're
you.
Cut that. We're gonna cut that where I talk him up and he goes, "Shut the fuck up."
No, I don't say shut the fuck up. I just said, trust me. I mean, I did not.
Something like that.
Oh, look at you! Look at you, ganging up on me. At least I brought
He
you
knows
two together.
He watched his episode.
I brought you two together.
No, it was no. So Blade 2, right?
No, I'm in Blade as
You're in
well.
Blade?
Yeah, I'm in the first Blade. See, that's there goes your purr right there.
Yeah, out there in Woodland Hills. That's all apartments now. That studio.
Oh, to this day I still remember Kristen Mentor. God bless her soul.
God rest her soul.
Wait, what?
My first day of the night before my first day of
hadn't heard.
shooting, she calls me up and she's having an emotional because of you know who, and I'm like, finally, it's like 3:00 in the morning. I go, you know, I gotta shoot tomorrow, right? And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. And then of course I get that phone call at 5:10, and I pick it up. I'm like, shit, goddamn mother, I'll be right there. I made it from our apartment in Studio City to that studio in 15 minutes.
Jesus
You
Christ.
was zooming.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my God.
And then I didn't see the camera at all that day.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
but
they did all. They did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Confidential.
but I had to wear the makeup
Yeah.
the
oh.
entire time, and which was fine, you know. But because they're paying me shitloads of money.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was funny. I just remember that going, you know, I gotta work tomorrow, right? And she's like, oh, and she's so but you know what? When she wants to be a good friend, she's one of the best.
She's a good friend. I talked to her last night.
It's funny. She came to the Belko premiere with me.
You know, she called with Jim Neeb when we did the Jim Neeb episode. She called, and I take the call, and we talk about Home Alone, and then Scott does a blurb of Jim Neeb's episode with Krista Minter counting the kids and shut up, moron.
She does
Yeah.
the last one on the head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
Was she in 2?
I don't think so.
Because a few of the kids were in 2.
I don't think so.
But I don't think so for some reason, because they really cut like the cast down a lot in 2. Because she was the oldest. She was probably off to college at that
Yeah,
point.
they cut it down because they only made $1 billion, the highest grossing comedy of all time.
One of them, right?
Well, it's like the same thing they did to Chris Kavanaugh with Babe. Wouldn't give her any money for
The
second
sequel.
one.
That's,
Or I thought she'd already had the incidents.
No.
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 Oh, really? Was it about money? Because she's the reason why that thing became successful.
Of course.
Because she's the one who convinced Universal to do the test screening. Because
Yeah.
it was originally going to go right to video. It's going to be made only for kids.
wow.
Basically, that was the intent. Even it was
and
George
we were all at the test screening.
in
at
Universal.
Yeah.
And the scores went through the roof, and they saw the response, and they were like, okay. And
It made $100 million.
yeah, but it got nominated for
Yeah.
Jim Cromwell. Was
Yeah.
that James Cromwell
Jim
got
Cromwell.
L.A. Confidential?
Yeah.
Back to Brian Lally.
That's it.
Got a nomination for that, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
That'll be all pig. That'll be all pig. Stretch Cunningham, right? Was
Yep.
that
Stretch Cunningham.
Oh, man.
All in the family. Goes
And-
back to Carol O'Connor.
Carol O'Connor? Well, it's crazy because James Cromwell. That's what I'd love to. The way he talk about it ain't a marathon. It ain't a sprint. It is a marathon because that dude. You know, a few bits here, a few
Yeah.
bits there, and then he lucks into this movie that's made for basically, at the time, straight to video. You know, kids movie about a talking pig, and he gets because the girl who does the voice for the talking pig begs the studio to do a screening of it. They get the
Get the numbers.
to go. Yeah, we probably should release it. And I knew it was huge when because remember Bill Dwyer had his daughter was around the perfect age for
Yes.
that. Said, I just saw the best movie of the year. And I was like, what? He said, Babe.
I loved it though.
Oh, it's a great movie. It is
Yeah.
a phenomenal, It
Yeah.
is such
It's
a great
the
movie.
vulnerability in Chris Kavanaugh's voice.
Definitely.
Oh my God. Hands down. One of the most underappreciated actors there was in this town. That
And it's sad that they didn't appreciate that.
And
And
she-
they didn't know the value of that when they went for the sequel.
Well,
the sequel
but basically, E.G. Daily just did and who they're great friends.
Yeah.
But just basically did, their voices can be so similar. She just basically did Chris's voice.
Right.
For the most part, I mean, I think if you were to hear it, you would have to be really, like, it's so subtle of a difference. But yeah, but Kavanaugh, it was beyond brilliant. Like, well, Paul Goebel said that's what made him a vegetarian. Was that movie?
Maybe.
I remember she did the voice for The Wait Is Over.
Yeah.
She would do the voice.
Yeah.
And he came to one of the shows and went up to her and said, "Hey, my wife and I became vegetarians because of Babe." And she was like, well, I'm going to have some ham.
I'm having a sausage sandwich right now.
Because she was a big old, oh man, I remember when her going through divorce, she goes, if I want coffee and cigarettes, I come to your house. If I want beer, I go to Tony's. And I didn't have beer, so, man. And she didn't smoke weed. We did have weed.
Vodka grapefruit.
I remember once I did some writing with this, I'm not going to mention who the writer is, the female writer was, but I was joking around. She came over, we were pitching some ideas. And she goes, you got anything to drink? And I joking around, I said, well, I do have a beer. And she said, I'll take that. It was like, 10 a.m.
Jeez.
I was like, here you go. I was like, shit. Woo! That's a problem right there.
So Sergeant Bilko, big movie. If it opened in the top 5, you would have been on the Tonight Show.
No, if it would have opened number 1. Or if it would have went to 1. It was because it opened number 2.
Did it?
Yeah, against Birdcage. And then Senior Trip, I think, was number 3 to Two on Food with Love. So I lost twice to 2 movies about cross-dressers.
Senior Trip with your friend.
2-time Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner. I always like saying that,
Yeah.
Oh.
When Franco was hosting the Oscars, I said, hey, there's 2 people nominated tonight where I played their father in a play.
Yeah.
Him and Jeremy. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up.
Dude, you were great. That was actually a pretty intense play.
It was a very intense
It was
play.
a really intense. I was
Yeah.
like, because, Jeremy, I knew he was, well, first of all, that dude always brings comedy to no matter, I mean, he likes to laugh.
Yeah.
But he gets a lot of intense stuff. The most intense role he ever played was Hurt Locker. But even in, Born Legacy,
Right.
he's a funny dude. He's
Yeah.
a funny dude.
Yeah.
But that play was crazy intense.
Yeah.
Crazy intense.
Sure. It was called God Bless This Mess. And he played a...
Oh, was that what it was called?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit, I forgot. I remember I saw it the place on Santa Monica Boulevard, right?
Monica, the Coast Theater. Yeah.
Saw it twice.
Yeah. We had dressing rooms. I thought I'd made it.
Oh, wow.
So-
Wow. That was a crazy intense play.
That was crazy. And Julie
You were great in
Areola, Julie Areola was his acting coach. Played my wife.
You played such a piece of shit in that. You were such
Yeah.
a bad father. You were so. You were trying to be you were so broken. That's the
Yeah.
best way to say it. You were so broken as a father.
Yeah.
In that play,
I'm Irish alcoholic.
it was really, dude. It was really close to
typecasting.
home. It was
Yeah.
really good, though. I mean, you did.
It was good. He was great, man, when he did that. Yeah, but Juliet, I want to make sure I finished with her, man. She was phenomenal. She came at me with so much, in rehearsal, she came at me with so much intensity one time, I broke and giggled.
Oh, because you're like, yeah.
Because
You were so shocked.
It touched me. It was like, whoo, what's going on? She was good. She was good at it.
I was working on an audition for this project called Soldier Boy, or something like that, or something that it was a big project, and I was being brought in. I was going to be playing high school, like a boarding school, and Danny Woodburn was helping me with the audition, and Danny, and I made the choice. I was going to start with my back turn because I'm yelled at, and I turned into it, and Danny Woodburn came at me, and I turned. I would just start laughing because I was, when my back was turned, I was scared. And then I look, and there's a dwarf, and he got so pissed. He's like, "What? You don't buy it?" And I'm like, "No, because I'm scared, but you're so little." And I was like, God, fuck, Danny's a great actor. He was so real. And then I look on it, made me laugh because I'm like, I'm really scared, and this is supposed to be make believe.
Right.
Oh man, that was cool.
The
stuff.
Problem Child movies.
Yeah, Problem Child 2. So, yeah, I got discovered. Basically, a very nice lady, Laura Took, saw me at Kinko's Copy Center.
Oh, I thought you got a TV show out of Kinko's. You got
No.
The Problem
Well,
Child?
technically
wow.
I did.
Right.
Because of Problem Child 2, I got the TV show.
Okay.
Because the casting director said the guy you want's in L.A. Yeah, she saw me because Chris was, this is pre-computers, home computers. Chris was working at Kinko's, and he was working the night shift. He said, come on in, you can use the computer for free, all the copies for free, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
So I go in there, make my resume, and one thing I was very good at, thanks to Scott Kimball, because he gave me a book on how to write a resume, I kind of learned how to write Dominatrix, S&M resumes. And so I wrote a really, kind of a good resume. And this lady looked at it. She goes, "Oh, you're an actor." I go, "Yeah." She goes, "It's a good resume." I go, what do you mean it's good? She goes, well, because I don't know who you are, but it looks like you've done a lot of stuff on this, but not enough stuff that I could catch you. And you stress the stand-up because that's probably what you're the most. If I was to check, that would be the things you could vouch for. And I knew it's Pat Buckles.
Yeah.
Pat, she's married to was married. I don't know if she's still married, but Lou DiMaggio, right? I think she was married to a comic as well, but she used to kind of do something with the Laugh Factory. She got me into Laugh. She got Jamie to say yes, call in. Never got a spot again, but she was very nice. So Pat Buckles, so I put I was stand up and she goes, yeah, you should give this to my friend. And I go, how do I do that? And then she wrote a nice note and gave me the address. And I sent it, and Valerie opened it up and brought me in. And this is how far in Problem Child 2, because I guess the story is Problem Child 2 was such a huge success that they automatically greenlit it. So they started casting without a script. So when I had got my first audition through Valerie, it was a scene about two movers, and I remember Bill Torres, God bless him, such a cool dude. He was so awesome back then, and he still is.
He's a better dancer now.
He's a phenomenal dancer. And he goes, now, I know I might not be that, and he was so worshipped as a stand-up at the time, but he goes, I know I'm not that successful, but I think I can help you with this. I think I can help you with this. So we go to the Rock and Roll Denny's.
Right.
He makes me stand up in the middle of that Denny's and do the audition with him for this thing, and I'm, it's about these two movers. He's so cool that I go on my lunch break at Klasky Chupo. I go to Universal. It's back when the casting was across the street. Yeah, by the park.
Yeah.
She goes, how do you know Laura? I go, I met her at the Kinko's. and that's exactly what she kept on saying. When I'd finish the scene, because there was two scenes. She goes, how old are you? And of course I was lying about my age, 21, And then she goes, wow. And she goes, where are you from? Kansas. Wow. You don't have representation? No, ma'am. Wow. Okay, so then I get a call to go to meet the producers. And I guess they had just had the first draft of the script at that point. Because this, so I go and I read this scene, and Bill Torres goes with me to the callback, and I fucking have these guys on their they're laughing like children. I come out, Bill goes, did you do your acting there? I go, no. He goes, producers, they don't, yeah, that's really good. And so we're walking out, and Valerie goes, hold on a sec. Do you want to read for a bigger part? I'm like, sure. And they're going, can you cut this? Who's that? My mom's?
John Devilman.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
I've got Eric. Oh, that's what you said you were going to call with Eric on.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You interrupted my podcast. Jeff, this is John, Jeff.
What's happening?
Oh, hello. The podcast is going on right now. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Wow, it's just, I feel so bad. Wow.
And suddenly you feel very English.
John,
Didn't send me an email telling me now is the perfect time to call or anything like that. This is all just happenstance. This is all just a big, I'm so sorry.
Scott?
Oh, that's funny. When I looked, I said, what a surprise. And I remember you said yesterday because Eric called in during your...
We do got to wrap this up.
Okay.
I got to go back to Glendale.
All right. Well, John, thank you for calling in.
Thank you for ruining my inertia. A story I've told like 1,000 times.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Please don't take this out on me on the jiu-jitsu.
I'm gonna put my balls in your face. I'm gonna triangle
then
you.
You guys are gonna hit the mat.
and then we're gonna do some jiu-jitsu. I hope to God I can because you're probably in good shape, and I'm like, this is gonna suck. I'll have to fake like I'll go, hey, if you want to finish that submission, you should do this.
Yeah.
I'll be that guy. Yeah. Teaching moments. posting my list.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
absolutely.
I hope you had a great episode. I'm sorry I interrupted.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Love you, John.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you, brother.
Does he have an English dialect?
Australian.
Is he just Australian?
He tells the story on that.
Okay,
on the podcast.
because he was because I'm gonna have to listen to it. It's okay, but bottom line is, I'd leave. I don't because I don't know anything
You
about.
want to read for a bigger part.
Yeah,
She goes, yeah. You want to read?
So she goes, "Why don't you take that and work on it for a few minutes?" And Bill had I didn't sleep the entire. He was like basically half asleep. He goes, so we just left. We left Universal Studios, went to the Fat Burger on Lancashire and Karenga,
Ventura,
whatever it is,
Karenga West,
whatever it is. And I get some coffee in them, and we literally are gone for like 45 minutes to an hour working on this. But that's the beauty of like not knowing what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Not knowing.
Exactly.
And here's the thing: is one thing I found out as an actor, for all you actors out there, you can ask and do almost anything as an actor, but you better pay off.
Right.
Because if it doesn't pay off, you're a flaky fucking actor. But if it pays off, you're a fucking genius.
So when I read For Me Familia, I brought in Kate Pontoski, Kate Grant, and Clark Tufts because I was doing the crowd scene, and I had them walk behind the camera. Now, Roger Mussenden was sick, and Randy Hiller was his assistant.
Oh.
Randy Hiller was now the head of feature film casting at Disney Studios,
Uh-huh.
and we're still buddies. She's very, very cool, and mom to Ziggy. Shout out to Ziggy. And then, yeah, and had I have known, today I wouldn't do that.
I know.
I brought people to the audition.
Yeah.
And then she was like, okay. And I was just doing, crowd stuff. They just walked back and forth. It just made it so real. Anyway.
No, it's to
if
say
you don't know.
If you don't know, and like it's funny because I did the thing and then eventually I got the part. And when she, it's funny because Mike Muratori was seeing Ruthie at the time. I don't know. I can't remember what Ruthie's last name is. But she had done stuff. And they said, okay, they go, hey, we want you to come in and screen test. This is back when it's putting you on tape is what it was. And she was, of course, blown away by what I did, and, kept on doing wow, wow, wow. And I guess I was the only guy they brought in. Wow. And when they called me for the screen test, Muratori said he called Ruth. He goes, it must be between him and some other guy, because that's when you go in on the screen test. It's like between you and, especially back then. And, time went by, and I called because I had no agent, no way to get a hold of me, and I called up. I just called the station. Said, "Hi, this is Eric Edwards. Just, is there any news or anything?" She goes, "I'm not allowed to say." And this was her assistant. I can't remember who she was. I wish I would have remembered. She said, "But I've been hearing your name around the office a lot. Just letting you know." I was like, "Okay," and then it was December 31st. It was a Friday, I believe. I go, if I don't hear from it today, I didn't get it. There's, I probably don't got it. I go see, I think Awakenings. It's, in Century City. I'm just trying to kill time to because I'm going nuts. Because I'm checking my answer machine every fucking, and it's getting crazy. Chris, Mike Muratori, and I were in my, where the answer machine is in our apartment. I go, I guess I didn't get the thing. 5:59, phone rings. We all look at each other. Answer it. Hello? Hi, this is Valerie McCaffrey from Universal. I got some good news and bad news. Oh, she goes, good news is you got the part. Bad news, we're only going to pay scale. Is that okay with you? And I was like, yes. And then
Shout out to Valerie.
Valerie McCaffrey. And luckily, Bill Torres, he was actually a really good kind of mentor because he said, people like to help. So always ask for, go, hey, she goes, is there anything else, you want to know? Go, is there any advice you can give me? And she said, well, I think you should take an acting class because it took you a while to work on that audition. That call, we were about ready to just call you and say, don't come back, and I was like, that's, like I said, the beauty of not knowing, what I'm saying, of not knowing what's right or wrong.
Right.
And so that's how did I get into Playhouse West? No, I still didn't do that. I went to Prom Job too. But then the next day, it's funny because that day I called Bill and we got the agent guide, remember the booklet,
Right.
and we circled which agencies I wanted, and the one I wanted was Spotlight, because at the time Spotlight had Seinfeld, Riser, all the stand-up comics making transition to TV,
Right.
and that was going to be like my William Morris,
Right.
or actually William Morris. I don't know what had happened, but I was that's the one I'd probably go, because they were really good with stand-ups, and I was about ready to write a letter, and then New Year's Day, 10 a.m. I get a phone call. I picked it up and it's like, "Hi, is Eric Edwards?" I go, "Yeah, hi, this is Eric." He goes, "This is Scott. Valerie McCaffrey gave me your number. This is Scott Letman from Spotlight." I go, "On 50, whatever the address was." He goes, "Oh, so you've heard of us?" And I said, "Yes, I have." He goes, "Well, would you like to?" Valerie says you're a really great actor and stand-up. Would you like to come meet with me? And I was like, "Yeah," and then signed, and
Wow.
they were good. And then they went out of business. They got
Really?
right when I booked the pickle. Oh no, I had just done the pickle. I had just I was trying to get in on Milos Forman was doing a movie about a white sumo wrestler,
No.
and I just found out because when I shot the pickle when we were in New York, I'm walking to our production office there to pick up some per diem or something, and I see the name of the film. It was called Hell Camp or something like that. Had an office there, and I went and said, "Hey, you guys casting?" They said, finished casting. They said, "Oh no, we're still looking." I went to the fucking public library, got a book on sumo, started because everyone thought I was too small because I went to the big call, and I met with the casting director. But they go, "Hey, we think you're too small." So I got a book on sumo and found every fucking sumo wrestler that was like under 6 foot and under 300 pounds or something, And I'd Xerox it and said, "Did they star with John Ritter in Problem Child 2? Did they did they just do a movie with another one?" I go, "He weighs this and this, and did he work with? Did he just get cast in a Paul Mazursky movie?" And I sent the thing, and I get a phone call right after I find out that I'm at the Laugh Factory. Someone goes, "Hey, are you with Spotlight?" I go, "Yeah." "Oh yeah, some comic just was on stage ranting about how their agent took all their money." Went out of business.
Oh, it was Cheryl over at the Zealous Artist?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Sharon.
Sharon. And and the next day, no one's answering their phone. And I get a call from the casting department at who's casting. Hey, Milos Forman wants to meet you at the Beverly Hills, whatever. And that's where I ran into John Panette.
Right.
And he was giving me the stink eye. But that was pre-Bilko. But, and then I...
Did you eat his lunch?
No.
Okay.
No, but
Just checking.
Talk about, I wish I would have been stupid, because everyone thought I had met somebody. Like I'd read everyone had thought I had read the script. But I had not read anything.
Right.
So they hand me the sides. He goes, "Oh, here's the sides." And I walk to the door. They go, "Okay, you ready now?" And I should have said no.
Right. Well.
I should have said, "No, I haven't read
it's
anything."
tough to
Right.
say that in that moment.
But of course I
You
didn't,
gotta-
and of course I sucked balls. I was
Right.
terrible, because,
Chuck balls, were you doing jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu. I was doing
John
jiu-jitsu
Devilman?
with Milos Forman.
So let's talk about, I know you got to go. Let's talk a bit about working with Phil Hartman, Dan Aykroyd, and Steve Martin.
They were fucking the best. I mean, they were cool. I mean, dude, Phil Hartman was all of them. Dan Aykroyd, I think... Here's the thing, is because the way I looked and kind of presented myself,
Yeah.
because John Candy had passed away,
Right.
before that. And I, ended up, replacing, being replaced in the last moment in Little Rascals. I think there was, all of them had there was they kind of equated me to, there was like a fondness for me, because I had enough of those qualities that they, what I'm saying? I think there was like a little bit of a cheat with them, because I remember when I remember, after the table read, Steve Martin shot out of his well, first of all, we're meeting all the crew, meeting Max, all the platoon, and we're all kind of bonding, and Silver's kid, the girl that played Jenny Piccolo and Happy Days, is Phil Silver's daughter.
Oh, okay.
And she's there, and she goes, "You're playing a legend." And I was like, I didn't get upset. I said, oh, yeah, I heard. And all I could think of is that, but no, all I could think in her defense is, because there was like a lot of feeling,
Right.
her dad that was a legendary, beautiful show. And I just imagine this guy probably, she sat on his lap. She was his, like, very close.
Right.
She was very close.
And
And
my dad did the show. Did
Bilko.
and he said,
Or-
Eric, you're much too good looking to play that.
Which
part."
I thought was awesome. I took that as a compliment, not as an insult.
Yeah.
Because I beat out fucking they did a nationwide. They put, when we were negotiating contracts, like Time magazine, some big publication put out a big article about will we be able to find Doberman? And
Really?
yes,
They sent it out to everybody with high blood pressure in the United States.
absolutely. And I was like, check this out. Timmy ran into the casting director at like some sort of Hollywood thing and said, yeah, I think my friend, I think you just cast my friend as Bilko. She goes, contracts aren't signed yet. Because Mark Temple, my attorney, was like, this is a call. He said, you don't know who I work with. Because he basically, there's only a point that cast directors can negotiate up to, and then you have to go right to the execs.
Right.
So he was going for like a lot of cash on me. So I was getting really scared. But so after the table reading, and they're all laughing. I'm doing the best Eric Edwards. I'm like really having a good time with this. And first guy, Steve, jumps up, walks over and says, "Hi, I'm Steve." And I was like, "Of course, you're Steve Martin. You're one of the reasons why I do, the jerk." And, he's Saturday Night Live. I mean, the sketch that I saw the kid rip off, his entire, that you're one of the reasons why I'm doing all of this shit,
Right.
And then one of the first days of rehearsals when we were at the San Pedro, the base there, I go out to smoke a cigarette and not Phil Hartman, Aykroyd comes out and bums a cigarette from me, and I wish to God I was just cooler. I wish to God I was just more like chill. Daryl Chill Mitchell was so comfortable was so comfortable in his skin that he would. But Dan wanted to really, and I was just so starstruck that
Sure.
and he just kept on smiling. He goes, I remember during the rehearsal, he goes, "You're cracking me," because I would just make a face, and he'd make me laugh, And and then Uncle Phil was, all you had to say was "Hey Phil, how you doing?" And then 35 minutes later, "Hey, what else is going on, Phil?" He's like me. He would just talk and talk and talk, and it was great. And luckily, when I had a buddy of mine that I joked around about, said, "Hey," he goes, "Yeah, can I come to the premiere?" I said, "Sure." And then he found out about the premiere, flew out here, and the premiere was a fundraiser, and all my tickets that I had gotten, I got like 5 tickets for the premiere, went to everybody on my team. So I had to pay $200 for my friend who flew out there to go, and he came to the after party, and he goes, "I just have one favor to ask," and I was like, "Please be me, Phil Hartman, please." And he goes, "Can I meet Phil Hartman?" I was like, "Yes, of course you can meet Phil, because Phil loves meeting everybody." And then Phil hugged him and dogged him, and gave me a big old hug, and it was Phil Hartman was so cool. He was just like everybody. It was more the platoon though that I'm the most grateful for actually getting, because Ortiz and I became real tight. Pam Adelon, Max. Remember Max used to come over and watch the fucking fights. One of the classiest motherfuckers you will ever meet was Max Casella, and also to see. Like his work in Tulsa King is so good, and also, if I remember we were doing all the singing and stuff, I guess, he's done Broadway, and he was in Newsies.
Oh, wow.
He's the narrator in Newsies.
With Christian Bale?
Christian Bales. He sings, and there was one where someone hits a note, and they go, who made that Jonathan Lang goes, "Who made that beautiful note?" And they go, "Oh, it's Max." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, Max can sing," and, he's so talented, just to be kind of. And also, JJ and I were real close for a while. And JJ made me and Chill. I remember Chill would, came and saw my one-man show. And Chill said that, goes, "I was raised Jehovah's Witness, so if I give you like a Christmas card, it's business." So I go, "I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas, although it falls on deaf ears. I just want to thank you. I'm thinking of you this time." And but Chill, yeah, but I got great stories about Chill, and you know, I don't know how far I can tell because I don't know but just great stories because I was the go-to, like, even in like whether it was high school or even like when we lived together. Cliff Collins would call me up at like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Hey, you got any weed? And they'd come over and I'd, you know, not like I wasn't selling weed. Just he was literally asking, "I'm out."
There was no weed sold. That's David Bernstein.
Okay.
Shout out David Bernstein.
He normally would page my mom at this time if we were Jerry's Deli. I'd put her on my carpet, you know, our doormat, our welcome mat. And he would get it, and but I remember in high school, randomly, my senior year, the guys would stop by my house at like 1 in the morning and knock on my window to have a conversation, like. Eric's got to be up. He's got no father or mother. You know, so, but even that, like, you know, how many people would hang out at her place, you know?
That's how I got to meet all those guys.
Yeah.
That's why I knew it was you guys had a good bond on that.
We did.
Because they would all show up at the house.
Absolutely, yeah. And, like, you know, we stayed, I mean, like, I would just like to, you know, last time I ran into Pamela was, I was reading for something that, I guess, cast, you know, that little weird casting office studio in not off of Vine, but it's in that weird between Santa Monica and Melrose, but it's not Melrose Studio. It's a real site.
Cahuenga?
Not Cahuenga.
No?
No, it's even weirder. It's like kind of by the what's
the Gold's Gym?
Nah, it's whatever. But we'll see it. I just passed by it on the march. I ran into her and she was like,
the Million Man March.
The million pound march back in the day. That Eddie Griffin gave me that. All 5 of us are showing up. But yeah, I ran into Pamela and dude, just to see where, like, you know, I gotta get in that. I gotta get my career back on track. You know, but yeah, just seeing, like, that was the coolest thing was that for that moment we were really close, like for years after that. Yeah. You know, Max moving to New York. I mean, that was I remember this because this was all pre-cell phone, and you know, I had a cell phone, but like. You know, people were using pagers and stuff. Yeah. I remember Max calling me saying, "Hey, I just want to say I'm moving to New York. I just want to say, you know, if you're out there, make sure you find me and stuff." You know, I was like, that was really. He came and saw me at fucking Westwood Brew Co. Because you remember he used to live in Westwood.
Right.
You know,
he was in King of the Open Mics.
Yeah, absolutely. And Taka didn't complain. He was so. I mean, just what a nice fucking dude. You know. Yeah. You know, and like Jeremy was. Like I said.
Is that me and you in that scene sitting behind him?
Yes.
That was me and you?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. He's just a classy guy, man. And just, you know, like when you see how good he's done.
Yeah.
Like Sopranos.
He's a good actor.
He's a Woody Allen loves, you know, put him in like 3 or 4 movies. And then
could have been married if they were related.
Absolutely. And then just to see what he does, Tulsa King, I'm like,
I'm
like, wow, fucking Maxie, you are really.
You watch that?
No.
It's really good. Yeah, I got to tell you.
I know. I should have said yes just for the podcast.
But no,
he's fantastic.
I hear he's quite good. That's Stallone.
Okay, last thing.
Yes.
Ice House beer.
Dude. We all got to suck off the Tina Ice House for a long time.
That was a hell of a campaign, and you know, podcasts can be seen around the world, other parts of the country where Ice House was a big.
Well, dude, they would because of the wild spots and they would see it out here.
Yeah.
You know, all the time. You know, what's funny is me and Alan Heiss, he got brought in like one of the second round of like he's killing it right now. We've like because of Facebook and you know. Just we run into each other at auditions, and his wife's just, you know, just a really great guy. He occasionally, like, we're still friendly from that. He's one of the only guys I'm still friends with from that, all the guys that went in and out of that shoot. Right. But that was such a good time, dude. And it's funny. I remember when I was losing the weight on that shoot, and when the execs went, "You're losing a lot of weight there. I wonder if we have it in your contract." And I wish I would have said, you know, maybe it's time for Ice House Light.
Well, that's what I said, that the president of Miller Brewing had that picture of you as the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
In his office.
I
thought you should have contacted him and say, I lost this weight with Miller Lite or whatever.
I wish to God I would have better, because that was the time when I went with fucking fisticuffs.
Right.
I dropped Parallel Entertainment and went with fisticuffs. I so want to say that motherfucker's name, and who's.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
shouldn't.
And I know, and I've thought about it 10 times.
Oh.
And we know it's not going to help anybody.
It's not gonna. But I to this day ruined. To quote Brian Lally, ruined a forward-moving career.
Ruin a guy who was working.
I was
Shut
working.
The guy who was working.
Because I booked a series right after that.
Yeah.
Who's the dude that did the VW commercial? Chris
Chris
Valente was in a fucking test group. He was like, dude, anytime you popped on the screen, people were just like howling how funny you were.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris McGaha's husband, I think, did the music for it. I'm not sure, but like, it was pretty. And I was like, and I'd cut ties with him because he was, just a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big thing is, to this day, he never apologized for what he did in our house. That piece of shit.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, because he's a piece of shit.
But
and he's been canceled. So
I heard rumors that he's working under the wire.
Oh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Whatever.
At least that's what my recent management company said. God rest her, because she passed away. The lady Deborah.
Right.
God rest her soul. It's funny. She was actually. There's a picture that she used to have in her office of his old partner.
Okay.
Who's actually a pretty decent guy.
Right.
That they and then there's also pictures of her hanging with young Brad Pitt and Jason Priestley when they were doing commercials back in the day. But yeah, it's funny to this day. But look at Eric Griffin; he's got the last laugh.
Yeah, I mean, but it just seemed like out of nowhere.
Dude, because first of all, one thing I love about Eric, when he is on, that motherfucker is can be one of the funniest guys in the room.
But he was the only one that seemed like
he was the only one that got angry.
Yeah,
he was the only and to be quite honest, I will say this: Eric put up with a lot of shit that day. We had a lot of friends there that were very relaxed about things that were coming out of their mouth. Didn't take in consideration other people's, it
happens.
It happened, and I was kind of embarrassed.
It was a different time, a time I prefer to live in.
before everyone having a video camera. I didn't say that. But to this day, I mean, and I just remember Eric leaving because everyone wanted to throw him off that fucking balcony.
Right.
But Eric, No.
I've just heard it 100 times from everybody.
Yeah, I remember Walker Ewell.
Yeah.
I remember Walker Ewell. I will finish this joke in the car. But he goes, I was so close to throwing over the balcony because he was a dick. Yeah. But on a good note.
But was he slamming drinks?
Oh, he's a short little drunk. I don't know if he still is, but I'm assuming he probably that day he was. And what you read about the trades and why he got canceled, that was all what was going on. But let's go. On a high note. I saw Mr. Griffin unexpectedly on this.
Be funny?
Dude, that motherfucker is funny.
Shout out to Eric Griffin.
Dude.
Your mom says hi.
Yes, absolutely. His second special, his first special should have been funny, which it was. But his second special actually was funnier. And you know how tough that is to do? Because you don't have as much time to work on it.
Right.
I had to give him a call and said, your first special was very, very good. But your second special was just a little bit better. And that is so hard to do because normally your second special is not quite as good as the first special.
Yeah. Should I call Eric Griffin right now and guilt him into getting on the show?
You can do what you got to do. No, I won't do that to you because he might. Well, everyone's got a lot of free time, right? Well, no, he's probably doing the road.
He's actually working on a movie. Actually, right?
You got one of the yeah. Well, dude, I still got to see the thing you did with Ray Romano because I've heard good things about the movie. And I heard him talk about how he goes, I have this small part, and Ray took all this time to talk to me about it. I was like, to work with cool, when you work with a really good director, like Paul Mazursky, when we he would talk to us about what was going on, and then I go, oh, no wonder why you end each day an hour early, because you don't take anything,
right.
But you're very focused.
Right.
And you're like, okay, what do you think about, and talk.
Yeah.
That's what I always liked about when you could tell you were working. That's the thing that was a little bit of a downer on sometimes working on TV.
Yeah.
because you just do your thing and just get done and
my God,
don't make
yeah.
any problems. Now, when I got to work with John Badden, let me pick that name up. Directed Saturday Night Fever,
Right.
and some other phenomenal movies. And to this day, that's my proudest audition because I'd lost all the weight. I met Erica Silverman, I believe was a casting director.
yeah.
Met her at a showcase.
She was on Criminal Minds.
Yeah,
right?
Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Brought me in. The reason why I knew I met her from the showcase is because I just got back surgery. She goes, "How's your back doing?" So I knew she remembered, and it was not a good audition, but it was okay. But I'd done better, and I literally read against like 30 other people, ranged from black women to Asian men, and not just like Chinese Asian, but like Indian, basically anybody who could be in the medical profession. And I went in there, and this is old school because it was the producers, it was a producer session,
Right.
and he was there, and I did my thing, and John Bam goes, "That's right, whatever that, that's right, Dr. Gillespie, you don't take shit from these guys, do you?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, I got a shot," because he just, what I'm saying, because I definitely had a good point of view about it, and I left, and he hired me, and of course I rewrote it and took all the, made it just information, and it was so cool because I got to work with the pretty black guy. What was his name? Lamar. Shamar Moore. The handsome. He's handsome, and the other dude, and they were like, "Yeah, this scene was so good." And John Badman took time to talk to me. He told a story about Saturday Night Fever,
Really?
which was
That's
so
cool.
cool. I was like, "Oh," because it was about glasses. Because someone had to wear glasses, and they didn't want him to wear it. But he goes, once the guy took off the glasses, his acting really went down. So we got to figure out how to light it with the glasses, because for whatever reason, these glasses just made this guy act well.
Wow.
And he was so cool. But they'd go, "This is a film guy." Because I wasn't expecting them to do any of that on the nice yawn. I'm working off. You've heard these stories many a time.
You missed the first 40.
Oh,
Not true.
how we doing, Scott? We got 3 episodes in this. Okay, we gotta go. I do gotta go.
2 hours and what? Are you serious?
Am I the longest episode?
This is by far the longest.
Well,
But it flowed. It flowed. I didn't know what time you had to go.
well, I was gonna go do jujitsu, but I'm gonna do.
I'm going to do Jeff instead.
It'll be more of a workout. Oh shit! Oh shit! You got that little shake. I like
It's a dollar shake.
Then you hide it. Oh, dude, I just something popped up on Reels. It was a scene with Chris Spencer. Hey, you vanilla queen, and it's where he's addressing it. Oh, they broke the mold with you, white devil.
Oh, he's dressing like a Muslim?
Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, I so forgot how.
Who's it? Eric Griffin?
It's a very important number that was. It's a 323. So it's either good or bad news. All right, I got to go.
All right. Eric, thank you very much.
Oh, nothing. I mean, other than just
Eric Edwards.
just ericedwards.com. Eric Edwards 1 as an ERICEDWARDSONE.